ari ega here or there is a backing behind. So if we establish those two, tinobatsirika pakuziva kuti tiri kunangepi, you know. Ochavangu, zvokuti let's sit down and negotiate because the disgruntlement, whatnot, all those angova stories. But the truth of the matter is the Chavangu ari kushanda nema-external forces. Whatever he's doing, a force behind. Ari kushanda ne some other people are behind.
Okay.
Yes. So him working with other people are behind. Anotozviziva kuti whatever move yaanoita inenge ichiwa green light.
Right.
Zvakafanana nekuti the first move yakatoita kuti remember kuti paakatanga Chavangu akatanga kusaindira kufield ama-double candidate. Remember that? Zeki ikazvibvuma. So vatafamba yezvitavapana arikola parliament yazvibvuma. Now takuenda kucourt, you know. So for Chavangu munhu ari kutongoshandiswa, you know. But agenda iripo ndeyekuti varoda kutongodini. I think the one thing that we need to remember, that we don't need to forget, is project here 2/3 majority still stands.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
Yes. So now when Douglas Monzora comes in, achitaura zvaanotaura, Douglas Monzora naChavangu, they are just the same people. Vakangova nemaproject akafanana. Douglas Monzora akaseva ira yake akaita zvaaita. Now it's Chavangu working the same project yaingoita Douglas Monzora. Saka whether we are saying zvokusuggesta kuti he sit down and with Chavangu, it will be just a waste of time. Haungagoni kusita down nemunhu anenge achiita zvaari kuita izvozvo. If he had issues, why couldn't he follow the proper protocol of the party? If he proposed to say, I'm the interim secretary general, him knowing the office yaanenge achiholda iyoyo, unongomhanya here kungonosvika utoti ndakunorecola kumavengi vako kana kuti ungadai akanosamona kuti president, let's sit down. I think apa pakaita 1 2 3 4 5 pada kuadjustwa. Those zvinoita kamunhu anenge achiti inini I belong to this particular party, you know. So on the issue wanga wachimbobvunza yekuti saka vanhu, we have to go back now to the people. After all these people have been recalled, we have to go back to the people now. Kuti vanhu vakasarudza vanhu. Iye ari kuti no vanhu disgruntled and my constituents because pakaitwa vanhu Harare yaka-impose ma-candidates.
Yes.
But kana vanhu va-impose ma-candidates in ma-constituencies, people vanoita bhora musango. That is what I know. Because vanotaura wakati votera munhu akasarudza neMarare nevanhu kuHarare. But you know what they did? Vakavhotera munhu anga afildzwa ne-CCC as a party, as a political party. Now zvinoreva kuti zvaari kutaura iyeka zviri kuenda in contrast with what people did. Vanhu vakavhotera munhu we-CCC because vaida CCC as a party. Saka we cannot say vanhu vakatsamwa saka, you know, at the end of the day I had to recall so that totsvaga munhu, you know. Saka for him now, unoona problem iripo ndeyekuti kucourt as we stand, pane problem yekuti kucourt outcome inogona kutinetsa, hatigoni kuziva kuti ichabuda yakaita sei, you know. Nemhaka yekuti tiri kuona kuti wave yacho kwairi kurerekera kuri ngotaridza kuti vari kutaridza kuda kuita kuri favorable kuna Chavangu. Ndosaka Dhagika achiuya achitira kuda kutaura zve
I want to ask a question kuna Wechira.
Yeah.
So Faz is no longer involved. Chavangu ndiye aita ma-double candidates. Faz is nowhere to be found in this. It was just a propaganda from opposition, isn't it? From Nelson Chamisa.
No. When we are saying Chavangu is working with other people or other institutions, do you have an Faz? What we are simply saying is Chavangu agongomuka makuseni ongofuma achiti I'm disgruntled, like I'm just going to recall people. This is the point, you know. Now after having all this done, Jerry, ndauda kunolenda. There's only one thing that I wanted to just suggest. This is my feeling and how I look at it. Ndona sekuti ma-old guards empatha atatinawa. Ndona sekuti ensika vanogona kunge vakakurumidzisa kuvaoffloada. Not necessarily kuti vanhu ndo vakasarudza, because handiti kuti isusu vanhu ndo vanosarudza macandidates and all that, kuti vanhu ndo vanosarudza kama constituencies kuti tudanhingi, but kuti ma-old guards edu aya pana vamwe vane influence imwe yatinonida as a party to avoid ma-situations akaita seiwaya, you know. Because if you look at it, vanata vamwe vaimbofambidzana nana Tibika, so the same Kabau, Nana Pulu and all. If you look at it and if you see your research, even Nana Walshman. But I thought maybe it would have been much wiser. You know, with these old guards. Then you have to offload them gradually. Other than kuti vamwe vanga vatori muparliament last time, vana settlement, vakwekwe, vanani, they were just offloaded abruptly like that. You know, I'm not saying hangu vakakanganisa, because each and every leader anenge ane strategy yake yatinoshanda, but tikuona sekuti this might have contributed to what we are facing right now at the moment.
Right, but you know he indicated that, you know, if you remember, he has been speaking about the party being and we've got different stations where people can be deployed to go and serve. And that is exactly the same thing that he then, reiterated when he was speaking soon after confirming his candidature, or I think on the nomination court day, where he spoke about the issue of Tendai Biti, saying that he has got, there is where he is going to be saved. Yeah, he has a position where he's going to be saving Tendai Biti, which was in his government, and he was saying we are looking beyond somebody just being a parliamentarian. We are looking at people occupying other positions. So had things not gone according to how his vision, was there ever going to be this problem, or it is only people that are now, or being disgruntled on the basis that they saw being an MP as the first, as the easiest opportunity for them to be in a position of some sort?
Yes. Now, you see, if you look at it in that way, anditiunoona kuti problem yatazoita manje ndeyekuti TB akubvunzwa manje on a personal level in regards to all these occurrences and everything. Response yake unoiona zvainoita munhu wanzi napresident weparty, no, he still remains a significant figure, in the day-to-day running of the party. Is still going to hold a position hombe muparty, saka achiri munhu wedu anditika. Then 2 minutes down the line akubvunzwa about all these shenanigans, that's the Chavangu issue and all that is just recently exploded. Anobva ati no, DCA, I want to live my private life, respect my privacy.
Right.
And this, but this is the same person that the president has vouched for. But no, it's not about being a parliamentarian that signifies kuti munhu ari kushandira party.
Right. And then now, Mkoma, then a question then arises, yekuti, when that was the position, is it a position that was that something that came about as a result of collective decision making, or it was a decision of one person to say that, okay, this is what I want, this things to work in the party? So maybe when he said that, in the full glare of the whole world, before the cameras, I don't think if he was not happy, he was going to come out outright, there and then said, no. What you're saying is not it, and stuff like that. Is that something that can easily be asked to say, Guti, when he was, saying, those things? Was it something that was, could it had been a collective, decision, and why now down the line these people seem not to want to, accept, that to be the position that, the party, is taken?
I think that is the problem that I can certainly say I think that is the problem that most people are saying about how decisions are being made in this institution. That's our political party. We are not aware whether it's a collective decision or whether there is a collective input that comes from other. Because if it was a collective thing, it necessarily means that TB being one of the heavyweights, one of the vice presidents of the party, I find decisions making actually wise,
right.
So I think that might be one of the biggest challenge that might need to be addressed. Why am I saying so? It's because now we don't know who makes the decision.
Right. Okay.
We don't really know where decisions are made. Because you remember, if you go to, I'll give you an example. In ZANU-PF, there is the Politburo, then there is the Central Committee. If you remember, MDC in a standing committee, then the National Executive, where inputs will be coming in, and then people would then incorporate everything that has been said, and then they put it one. But right now, as we stand, we only have got a president who says no. Inini didn't responsible for making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. As one. It becomes a challenge to almost everyone, even to those. It gives ammunition to those that are not in our party to say, "Aiwaka, imimi amusikona here kuti munhu uyu akanyanya kuisa power paari, everything involve paari." It might not be necessarily what he's doing. Probably there was a caucus. It was somewhere with some other people that we don't know, advisors and all. But what we are simply saying is, at the moment, publicly, nobody knows what my decisions are.
Right. I hear you. I hear you.
Yes. Right. So I don't know if it's not a problem. It might not be a problem, but as I see it, it just gives the ammunition to against Isusa Kuti.
Right.
So we are atina chokutaura manje kana chadaro kuti defend I was why are you saying that? It is not facts.
Right, I hear you.
Yeah. So my point now, going back to TB.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at there has been always a TB cabal of people who are aligned to Tenta. And if you look at those people, all of them vakarohwa, not vakarohwa, but havana kwana pachi from parliament. And I will give you one example of the person that I personally know, who is the former mayor of Harare. Just before vapinda pakapera term yao yemayor pakapinda after the swearing in, I don't know that no arikutoda kuita mayor. But I in some other spaces, my comrades I told that happened because mono TB. You see, something like that.
Okay.
If you look at the cabal, TB, and a settlement, and a pool, and all those people are kupinda. I don't know, but it will come back to what we were saying, Kuti. Maybe it's for the people to decide.
Right.
That was one.
All right.
Yes, it will come back to the constituents. maybe the people are the ones who said, no, look, it's just a tidivana.
Yeah, all right.
Then we're
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The guy
Yes.
ningini box here ningimuri papo team bonds wakuti vamwe team koma tendai. How are you this afternoon? Yeah. This late afternoon.
I'm very well, Uncle Jay.
Oh,
What's up? Yeah, I greet everyone else who is on the space. I'm fairly a senior citizen in the Republic of Zimbabwe. I've submitted a lot about Zimbabwe politics as it relates to our laws of the Republic. I want to say on this Shabangu issue, yes, Uncle Jay's, you know who I go to bed with in terms of political affiliation and sympathies. However, I've got very many friends and colleagues in the profession of lawyers who are associated with the CCC, where Shabangu is causing trouble. Shabangu could have been stopped at the very first instance when he made his recalls to then say, we are challenging your authority. At the same time, I've said this many times, we are challenging you on your authority. You don't have to recall people, but nonetheless, we are seeking a court order interdicting you from performing similar shenanigans or making use of the Constitution to perpetuate certain interests. That was not done. And we are here today speaking about the notorious Shabangu. Now, Shabangu, he has said what he has said. But Shabangu is coming from a tribal card. Shabangu is backed by certain persons, whether they are tribally connected to him or not. But it is very true that that voice of Shabangu is a voice that is crippling, or it is intending, if it's not addressed, it is intending to then tear apart CCC. Why? There is generational consensus. I agree. I'm in that age where I'm obviously believed by others who are 31 years of age or 23 years of age to say I'm no longer relevant. There must have been generational cohesion, which I've always even submitted to ZANU-PF, that there is need for infusion of new blood and old blood and blend in order to pass on skills. Now the problem is, those that are in charge are in the many, and I underline in the many. In the many means the youth who are not part of my age. But the problem is they don't have skill, they don't have technique, they don't know politics. There was need for Ubiti, Welshman, Tokozani Kupe, the Monzoras, and whosoever, the Love Moyo and Gordon Moyo, to nurture these young persons who are now taking over opposition politics. But that has not been done. There was no fusion and blending within opposition, including ZANU-PF, so much that those who are now able and of green blood, warm blood, know exactly what governance is, know exactly what politics is. But it is not, there is a generational fight and no cohesion amongst us to pass on skills to the next generation. We are actually fighting youths, and old people are fighting the youths, and father and mother, father and children are actually fighting amongst each other in politics. And it is lamentable. As I have always said, there is need to have generational infusion and transfer of skills and blending of the new and the old as we phase out the old. But the old people are also refusing, and the young people are pushing also much harder to dislodge the old, which is a problem. Now Shabango, he is well natured and he is representing a certain caliber. I don't want anybody to tell me how old Shabango is. I think he's almost of my age. And he also feels threatened. Just like Speedy feels threatened, but nonetheless, Speedy has got a different issue because he's threatened by a white man who, in the name of Markham, who was preferred more than him, and he is disgruntled. The opposition is fragmented. I support ZANU-PF for some reason or other for those who are listening. But I am one of those persons who is not G40, who may be Lacosta and who may not be Lacosta. But I am still living, and I also need to get to 8 years. And I want a country that has fusion of generations. I've got children who are 23, some are lawyers, some are engineers. But I don't want a situation where they will then look at me as irrelevant. And I don't want me to consider that they are irrelevant. Let's be one people and one person as we look towards Zimbabwe. What I see in politics is lamentable. I'm a
Right.
lawyer by profession. I'm
Right. Tendai,
consultant by
something wrong with
profession.
your-
I don't push the party, but I advise politicians from all political divides. I wish Zimbabwe could come together and fuse what the space my Wi-Fi or internet is interfering with the other persons who are kuteerera. Let the debate roll. I learned on that
Right.
that note.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, because there was something wrong with with your thingy, with your connection, because at one point we could not make out what you say. But anyway, thank you very much for that. I want to go to Mkoma Moses. Mkoma Moses, really say Moses.
Yeah, thank you so much, Uncle Gerard. My submission is as follows. I think issue ya Chavangwi, I think I don't know why we are, thinking that this guy is a man of the moment, because we have seen these shenanigans before. These ZANU-PF strategies, they come, there's a pattern. If you have studied strategy, you know that one of the P's for strategies pattern. We had the likes of Jealous Mawarire, for example. He did some of these shenanigans, and the Monzora and the Komichi. The list is endless. Is the same. Okay, so Chavangu, for him just to wake up and start saying that I'm a interim SG, and yet we know that imposition Yema candidates, he was, Pamatabo candidates was also involved. So I think maybe there was an oversight. It was supposed to be, to be countered and put in place some safeguards so that this will not happen. I knew that maybe something like that is going to happen, because ZANU-PF, we all know they want 2/3 majority. But as Zimbabweans, we should just accept that, since 2000, there are a lot of people, okay, which is a reality, who do not like ZANU-PF, right? That's the reality. So this business of fighting the opposition for 5 years, I think it's very detrimental to our country, because this is the pattern which we are only having every 5 years when we have elections. The country is always captured in an election mood. Right now, we're going to have by-elections in Gutu. Then after that, we are going to have these by-elections again. So when is the time where people are going to talk about growing the economy? So one other thing which I don't understand from ZANU-PF, if I want to analyze many parties in Africa, okay, ZANU-PF seems to be very good in strategy, in grabbing power, because power is not taken, it's given. And it's not given, it's taken by any means necessary. ZANU-PF, they are very good at doing that. But once they get the power, they only focus on these things now, what they're doing. Instead of economic intelligence, growing the economy, they are not good at that. I don't know, it's just about looting, daylight looting. They are moving in all these other countries, in Dubai, in South Africa, all the other countries. If you go to Kenya, they are very good at corruption, but when they steal the money, they invest the money in their country. Look at, for example, in Mutare, we heard Mugabe saying 15 billion was lost. Kuma diamonds. If you go to Mutare, for example, right now, where Mkoma Toto comes from, there's nothing which you can which you can say, this was built because of diamond money. There's nothing to show. You find people building houses in Harare, 50 bedroomed. Mukoma anonzani Clive Malunga, here's a video yakabudisa here. You could, why would you need 50 bedroomed house and 10 balls at your house, and then the rest of the people, they don't have water and we have cholera? What kind of leadership is that? We have a lot of people who speak a lot of nonsense. I don't know how much money they are given as Varakashi, but some of it, you should have conscience. Most of the people they are defending, they are very old, and they are going, maybe they don't have the next 10 years.
Right.
So you as a young person, how are you going to feel when you are defending such things?
Right.
So these people, for example, like Vanachabangu, those people, we don't want even to hear about them. What I can tell you right now is, even if right now Chabangu Kanzaisa my candidates up, people are not naive. He is going to lose. All these people like Watchman, for me, Watchman, I've never trusted those guys from Changra's time up to now. If you look, Watchman with all this, politics in Zimbabwe, we know Watchman was never arrested up to now. I don't know, my farmer, so those guys, they are not, there to grow the opposition. No. You be shocked that Vana Watchman, James Maridad. Don't be shocked that you'll be appointed with an ambassador anytime from now. So these are the people behind Vanachabangu Atrukutaurava. So
right. I'm not being used by the ruling party. I have been on that road before.
What do you expect?
Mirai. You're saying that I'm not being used, by the ruling party. I've been on that road before, and I know that anyone who's seen as opposing some views in the opposition is seen as an PF, functional. And that is exactly, what, you've just done there, to say, good, everything that is happening has got the footprint of, ZANU-PF. So are you telling me that there's nothing that is internal in the opposition that has led us to where we are today?
No, there could be some issues, the opposition. Chamisa is not perfect, okay? There could be some errors that are not going to quit out. One of the errors which I can tell is, as a party, maybe one thing which should be addressed moving forward. I've always seen that lawyers, they are very good in any political party, but could triple see most of the things is create nana Monzora, nana Vana Gutu, all of these guys, Watchmen, Maduku, those guys, they always cause confusion and section this and that, and then they went to court, this couch of recalling. So at some point, we need to stop all these things. Because some of the people were saying, no, problem at times it's like our politics have been captured by lawyers. Hence, we are now in this vicious cycle, recalling and everything is just being contested in courts and a lot of confusion, and we become disorganized, unfortunately.
Right. There was an interesting
So that
point.
is another area in
Right.
But Vana beat maybe, I don't know, but those, like what Mkoma Toto was saying, I agree with him. Papuende kuti ma elders ayakadasana bitika vaifana kana kupuhoma, I don't know why pasina cabinet, shadow cabinet, and then wopuhoma ma positions ikoko woita ma advisors chao, and then maybe those guys, they should not be advisors. They are not politicians. They should not be close vachipa mama ideas. So they should be like friends, but they should not be advisors. But now maybe I don't think kuti BT anogona ngashandiswa nezano, but characters like Watchmen, I am almost like 100% sure that those guys, they are up to not something not good. Even Changra's time, you could see. So we yes, there are there could be some issues ziriko ku opposition, but Chamisa, the fact is Chamisa anongodiwa nevanhu, guys. Andika, right now pakangozipetwa by election pasina zvekutoti paiswa zvefazi fair inongodyiwa zano. It's a fact kuti vanhu, there are people who do not like the ZANU-PF
But
way
Mkoma,
of
yeah, but
doing
Mkoma,
things.
yes,
That's a
Chamisa.
fact.
But in
So
Mkoma,
we cannot continue fighting
right,
each and every 5 years when to my elections. I mean,
right, Mkoma. Saka, Chamisa no diwane van. Sekutara nige kwa muru kuite koko. But that
yes.
alone, Mkoma, it seems as if it is not enough. What do you think is lacking here? Because even though he's popular, even though he's liked, by many, we've seen that. There's nobody, that can be questioning that. But the events, that we are witnessing, right now, is popular, but things not seem to be working. How can we translate his populism to then enable him to get into that position where he can deliver for the people who are standing, behind him or who are rooting for him?
Yeah, maybe what he lacks maybe could be some experience and strategies. Like, for example, the people also around him, like, for example, where I think the biggest problem started when ZEC and ZANU-PF colluded not to give ballot boxes in Harare, in Bulawayo, in Manicaland. I was seeing when they're coming out on social media saying, I'm going to ZEC to us. No, that was the opportunity because people were agitated. That was the opportunity to cause chaos. My elections by now, Ivanangari inconclusive. Vanhu vakaita some action ipo paya zvakatovharana maballots akatosva pasina kana election pasina inauguration up to now. Even Sadak was there, AU was there. The election was not going to be conclusive.
Was that going to work, Mkoma?
Yes, it was going to work. Even if you look mukata analysis chacha yepakavota,
Yeah.
if you look mabaraki, mapurisa chichichi, misanga akawina. So it means it must all jive in mapurisa, mafuta soja chacha, atodi zanu yacho. And that's a fact. And ZANU-PF people, they know that. So he has a lot of support, but he doesn't know how to use the political capital so that he can get the power, because the power will not be given on a silver platter.
Right.
You have to do something.
Right.
You don't need to be a good opposition.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mkoma.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. I want to call upon the last speaker, Panama speakers, and then I would come up, with the new lineup. Nkala. Yes, Nkala. Please, Nkala, if you can take the mic and make your contribution.
Thank you very much, Nkala Canisius, and I'm glad to be on this space. It's important to understand that as a politician or as politicians, there are certain trends that we have actually gone through in Zimbabwe. There are certain junctures that we have passed through, but we have not learned much. Politicians, alike with the citizens, we have not learned much. Because we have this challenge that I will always say, and I will keep saying, the challenge of extremism, the challenge of people that can not actually tolerate different views. And this is seen even in the opposition, this is seen even in the government, this is seen even in our own personal lives, that we have that issue of not tolerating others. You will find it funny when I say so, because there are some churches or people that go to church that will not actually take their relative who does not go to church as a serious relative as compared to someone they go to church with, which actually shows that there is something wrong with us as Zimbabweans. Either we are cursed or we fail to understand the foundation of a country, because now the problem started in the foundation of Zimbabwe. If we are still not accepting that ZANU-PF was given power by the people who said they loved Mugabe, we will still not be ashamed to create another person who is like Mugabe, or to end up creating another person that we just give praise to, even if that person is useless and messing up. So it's important to understand that we are supposed to learn. And when I'm saying we're supposed to learn, one, two, we're supposed to take advice. Three, we're supposed to understand that we're human beings, we err. And whenever we have those errors, we must be able to be given several ways to actually fix them. Talking about Chabangu, it's a nice story. I mean, everybody is talking about Chabangu. Everyone was talking about Monzor. Everyone was talking about Pepe. Everyone was talking about Makupe. Everyone was talking about Welshman. Everyone was talking about Swangirai. Everyone was talking about Ngarivume. Everyone was talking about Jacob, Job Sikala. We can continue saying that. Even the Jurus, when they got out of ZANU-PF, even Mnangagwa, when Grace was insulting him, whichever way, we always find ourselves hooked up in this thing because we don't learn. Zimbabwe first, not politicians first, not individuals first, but Zimbabweans as in development first is what we must look at. We have made lots of mistakes as a country. We have had leaders that make a lot of mistakes because we pray and we believe in them more than understanding politics. I'm Kalakanishas. I'm a ZAPU member. Currently not in any position. I've served in several positions. I am 41 years of age. I have served in many positions in the party during Dumiso Tabengwa's era as a leader in the youth until the main and even the center of the decision-making body, which is the National People's Council. It's not easy, but I have taken a break. At 41, I've taken a break. Why? Because sometimes you may find that you are there and you think you are doing the right thing, but you end up messing up. You end up becoming the problem. So you need to sometimes get out of the room and look from outside and give advice where possible. Then come back when you are actually properly able to understand that now I've transitioned from a young man or a young leader into a leader that somebody can take advice from. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you very much. So, yeah, pakaipa. Zvinomukoma mukanetera at 41 years old, mukoma, and yet we've got somebody who's in their 80s, ruling us. Are you not giving up, early?
You see, we wonder sometimes what people want. Somebody wants to live at 90. You don't want them to live at 90. Somebody wants to live at 41. You don't want them to live at 41. What do you want?
Right. Pakaipa. Right. Okay. So I'm going to establish, ladies and gentlemen, a new lineup. So I'm adding, people. I'm going to add 4 people. Because ansodaita confusion. Vataura ndokumbira kuti muchidzika zvenyu. Ansodaita confusion. Saka zvokuti ndokuloadai makawandisa panapa aiwa nhasi pane new system. Right. So I'm going to start with Citizen Z, and Magneto, you're going to follow, and Carlos, you come through. Right. So this is the issue that we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Sengezo Shabangu issue. We're saying that the recourse that he did has given him the authority to endorse and sign for candidates come this, by elections. So he's saying that they have a database and they have a list of the people that were favorable candidates in the wards and in the constituencies. And what he simply needs to do now is to just do a cut and paste and then put in those candidates who were selected by the people during the candidate selection process of CCC, right? So he's saying though he has got now the power to field candidates under CCC. Citizen, why you?
Uncle
Yes,
Jet,
how you doing?
Chano baby
Yeah,
man.
where is he deriving his power from being the recaller? Does that give him power?
Yeah,
So
he
if
can.
that gives him power, then what then happens? What then happens now to the leadership of the CCC that we've known? Are they going to be forming another political party so that they will field candidates in this by-election? Like what we witnessed when CCC was birthed, it was just before another by-election that was being held in 2022. So in order for them to move away from the name NDCA, as Douglas Monzora and his crew had said that it is our name, and nobody has got a right to use that name, we end up seeing CCC coming up. Is it now, are we back at square one? Are we back at that position now whereby another vehicle has to be created for those that have been recalled to stand again in this by-election?
I'll say quick one, yes, but it is not a choice. It's never been a choice. We perceived it as a choice, but it's not. So this is what I'm trying to say. Let's say me and you, you are Chamisa, I am Chabang. Yeah. You are running a party, Uncle Ted. And I've done every single move exactly like what Chabang has done. And then by-elections are set in, proclamation is done. Yeah. You are saying that I do not belong to your party. I am saying that I am belonging to your party. By-elections are coming, and you've got two moves to do. You stick with the narrative that you have. This person does not belong, we don't recognize, and everything else. You select your own people, especially, let's say, the ones that have been recalled. And I select the people that I say that are belonging to the people. And then we go to the nominations. Yeah? This is how every single party went, or in the beginning. And you say CCC. I say CCC. Okay? Ezek says this. You cannot all of you, two of you, have the same name. You can't have that. You confuse the electorate. And by the way, you've got the same face on your paperwork, yeah, that we're going to put next to your candidates. You confuse the electorate. So, one of you or both of you have to have extra, an initial or a word to actually identify for the electorate that Jade is this party and Z is this party. This is where you ended up getting MTCT. It wasn't their choice. They were told by Zek. This is when you started to get MTC Ngobe, because Ngobe thought Ngobe moved as the original MTC. So same process is going to kick in here. So they are going to actually turn around and have to either add an initial to differentiate them from this other entity, and this other entity has to add an initial to differentiate from this other entity. That is just procedural. Zek is going to require that, because at the end of the day, Zek only turns around and says he cares about the electorate. So he does not want to confuse the electorate. Now, when that happens, you have created an extra, or you've created a party. That means now you have to turn around and go back to your constitution and change, because that's the name that you're going with. Now, that is one option. Second option becomes, this is one everyone does not want. You have to sit down with Chaba. Because at the end of the day, the same processes that Chabango is going to do are the same processes that you're going to do. Or, yes, it's the same process because it's the same people. It's the same, the criteria is the same. If you're going to do the processes again, but if you're going to take the names that have been recalled and put them back, and then Chabango does the same, I think both of them become unfair. If they are true to the people, both of them, they have to therefore now be turning around and going back to the process of the people and do the same process that they did. And let's see what the process therefore turns around and produces. But again, at this moment in time, arrogance is the only thing moving here. It is the only thing moving. Therefore, you are bound to turn around and make clear mistakes. And clear mistake the path is so clear, uncles, and I'm practically blind, by the way. So, but I can see the path. This is going to be disastrous. Because the moment you do that, there are no con effects. To say now, you have acknowledged Chabangwe. Yeah? And by the looks of the court case, is what we turned around and talked about when we saw the papers, uncles, that it was very weird that thing was not there. CCC itself was not there. But let's just say the court case goes to Chabang. That means every single person in parliament is now under Chabang. And as you know, parliamentarians, the moment they are under someone, it is very rare to actually turn around and jump ship of the person that has the ability to sign and record. Those ones with arrogance, not even arrogance, let's say bravery, they're going to be hit by the recalls. What you're going to have is you're going to have a Chabang controlled thing until you turn around and go to court again to actually turn around and rectify this Chabang thing. And then the ones that you are going to win in the by-elections are going to be yours as CCC Chamisa. You see now we're talking about CCC Chamisa, CCC Chabang. Now you've got CCC T, CCC CC. And this is how MTC T and MTC Green came about. And this is exactly the same thing, but to stop this, people have to learn that this is politics. It is not hatred. Because if you start to take politics as hatred, my friends, you are going to lose. This is negotiations. If you are going to negotiate with ZANU-PF, you need to learn from negotiating with Chabang, because at the end of the day, you are moving almost the same. It is like history. It's like a mirror image of the two.
Right. You know what? On that point of talking to Chabang, I know that people have people are pushing back against that. People are saying that we cannot negotiate or we cannot talk to Chabang. Wopwell, in responding to somebody on X, he made this he made this claim, and he said that it is a fact that Shabangu is talking to senior MPs in CCC who are close to Nelson Chamisa. It is true that Chamisa knows about this. It is also true that he has spoken to junior MPs. It is true that Shabangu has also spoken to MPs pleading with him not to be recalled. It is true that Shabangu is not a lone wolf. He is simply the Trojan horse for a disgruntled bona fide CC members. Chamisa knows them. Cicely does not know them. You also know them, but you are coming on social media to dishonestly post. So this was in response, to somebody with the name Mudu, whatever. So if he is stating that these are facts, that there are negotiations or that there are conversations that are happening, behind, the scene, does this right here continue to give this, Shabangu, the power or for him to make, this claim that he has the power to make things happen in CCC. Because already there are people who are MPs who are being said, the junior ones or those that have gotten into parliament. They are saying, please, please, please. They're pleading with him not to recall them. And yet, when we are speaking here, we hear people, voicing out that, talking to Shabangu is like talking to a terrorist. We cannot talk, to a terrorist. But yet we are being told that these talks are happening, behind, the scenes. What exactly, is going on, and how are people supposed to be responding, to this?
So this one, Uncle, is the thing again. We've said it here again. 99% of the people talking, especially against Chabang, have no clue. Have no clue. Even they've not even turned around and invested time to understand this thing, to understand who Chabang is, who is he representing. Yet the people on the ground understand what the tool that Chabang has, and they understand how Chabang can use it because he's already used it to hurt them. Talking has always been happening. But again, the people that have no clue are the ones that have turned around and made him go into hiding. Are the ones that have turned around and made him go and open, go and report to the police about death threats. You understand what I'm saying? Are the ones that are turning around and pushing a narrative that is nowhere close to the reality on the ground. Ask yourself, uncles, how come Chabangwe picked those places? Because the people of those places were disgruntled. There was a lot of people being placed as candidates without the people fully understanding the process.
But why did they vote for them anyway? But why did they vote for these people that were being placed there?
Because that is the point.
If they were not happy, like what the previous speaker said, that if people were not happy, they should have just done a bottom somewhere and voted for someone else.
No, this is what I'm trying to explain.
Okay.
You have to put the difference between the voting for the candidates in the selection process and the voting for the nation. These are two different people. Some might be the same, but the majority are not the same. I'll explain it with ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF can do a primary, uncles, and elect Tokarepi to be a candidate for ZANU-PF. Tokarepi can be elected by under 500 people.
Right.
Of ZANU-PF.
Right. Okay.
Yet Tokarepi goes out there and gets a 15,000.
Right. I hear you.
Yet the same people, the 500 people, are the ones with the power to recall Tokarepi, to push for the recall of Tokarepi, not the 5,000. The 5,000 are people without any knowledge of this process. They were not involved. Same as the selection process of CCC. We are talking about a handful of people, but at the end of the day, that is how our politics is designed. If they are disgruntled, it does not matter what the 5,000 say, because at the end of the day, the 5,000 do not know the inner workings of this place. Yeah, it's like me turning around and saying to you, as much as I see you as a big family in your clan, Uncle Gerald, yeah, I cannot therefore turn around and therefore think I can define your family based on your clan. Your family is you, Auntie Jane, and your children. Yeah? You control how you move at home to the point that when I see you with the clan, it becomes a collective. But at the end of the day, the rules are still made there in your house.
Right. Okay.
And this is where the disgruntlement is coming from. It's not coming from the 5,000.
So are you saying that this disgruntlement was also felt by people in Mavuku, by people in other areas where Chabangu, recalled, MPs, because these MPs did not all hail from Bulawayo. Some of them in Mavuku. So are you saying that you listened to the voices of the people that were disgruntled, the whole country, and only those 14 were as a result of him listening to people that were disgruntled.
The disgruntlement is bigger than that. That is him turning around and actually playing nice. The disgruntlement is bigger than that.
So are you saying this is he's doing this in drips, or like in drop?
Yeah.
To say that, okay,
Yes.
let me test the waters. I take 40, 50. Are you saying that we are we will see more recalls?
100%.
Oh dear.
Because at the end of the day, you have to say to yourself, this becomes a tri-sample, yeah? He's done his tri-sample, he's taken the 15 MPs and the proportional representation, he's taken the councillors. There are some people that are disgruntled saying that and turning around and communicating with him to say, here in Cholocho, yeah?
Mhm.
We've got a councillor that we did not turn around and choose. We chose the Seke, but unfortunately, Magneto is the one that is here. Because you have to understand, people have to understand something, uncles. We have been living with the first past the post, yeah? That is direct democracy, yeah? That means we gather, we turn around and say, Uncle Jade is the Uncle Jade, and we move. People did not understand this other process that CCC came with. The one that says, yes, you can be the winner of first past the post, direct democracy. But then we have got other functions that we do secretly, that you turn around and make your number 1 become number 4, and make your number 3 become number 1. Now, try and tell that uncle to your grandmother, to your aunt, to your uncle in back home. Do you think they were going to understand that? Yet CCC has been preaching about a selection process that is people driven.
Right.
You get the difference there in terms of receiving the message,
Right.
and what is there, and that's what people are turning around and struggling with. But if we're going to think that,
can I just add one or two things? There's Citizen Z. That look at this scenario, Citizen Z. For a fact, Triple C Chamisa is going to field the candidates, right? And for a fact, Masangu is going to use his only criteria to select, right? But we know for a fact by-election is in December. Triple C Chamisa is going to win maybe 10 seats there, and maybe ZANU-PF is going to grab 2, right? So what does it tell about Masangu and his reason for the recall? Because he is disgruntled to say people, Triple C did not do the candidate selection according to democratically according to him. So if Masangu does not win candidates there in the by-election, what does it make it? What does it tell you now?
okay, you cannot look at this guy like the by-election. You are looking at it wrongly. If you recall 15, it is not the 15 that is going to put in. You can't look at it and say, okay, from the 15 we beat him with the let's say 15 out of 15, we won 15. If you look at it that way, you are going to suffer as a political party. Look at it as what he has. He's got 103. He just pulled 15 out. You took the 15. Yeah? He's still left with 103 minus 15.
So in your submission, do you think at the moment Triple C is just sitting down and doing nothing about the solution? You should understand that this is politics. Yes, Masangu did an advantage, right? But it doesn't mean that Triple C Chamisa is not getting some solution to this Masangu problem. It's going to be, Masangu is going to be old news. Yes, he's trending for now because you took an advantage, yes, and you made use of it. But after this by-election, a payment solution to Masangu is going to be put across, and you are all going to know about it.
Second, you cannot, that very, what you're saying does not even make sense. It sounds nice, yes, but it does not make, it's like cotton candy. Mahlangu, if he wins the court case, yeah, it is not a win of Mahlangu ability to recall 15. It is all 303 can now be recalled by him. Yeah, if you go to an election against him, you are actually turning around. They could require you to put in another a letter or so to differentiate you and the other thing. If you win that election, when you get into parliament, you therefore protect creating another entity different from the 80 something. My mate is terrible today. 80 something in parliament, meaning now that the 80 something you have to shift. Either they cross the floor, Mahlangu recalls. They come out, you get. You have the long game, my friend. If you are turning around and counting the court case, you are going to lose here. The long game is the 103. How do you secure those people? You cannot secure them by a solution. Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. You cannot fix history. You have to turn around and make sure you bring Mahlangu in, him in. I don't know why I'm saying Mahlangu. Chabangwe in, yeah, and then combine with Chabangwe and then softening him so that he turns around and does not recall and his other CCC, meaning that the rest of the people that are there, 80 something of them, they come back to you as the original you. But you are not getting
right. Okay, Zed.
Let me just add one thing before I go. Let me just add one thing. Citizen Z, I think you are miscalculating here. CCC is a party. Mahlangu is one individual. Ghost supporters, okay? We don't know them for now. So what it means, CCC as a party can have a meeting and can have resolutions to fire Mahlangu as a member of CCC, and never to use or bad to use material which relates to CCC, that is the letterhead and the symbol. Right? If he wants Mahlangu, he can form his own party. There's no problem. But CCC as a party can have a right to have a convener meeting where they can make resolutions to say, Mahlangu, now officially you have been fired from CCC.
So why is there so is this the process that you are saying, Kuti, after this you see something like this happening? Are you saying that after the by-elections we might end up seeing something like that happening?
Yes, because look at this. CCC is a party. It's not. It's with this last time the meeting, national meeting, right? CCC is a party which can make resolutions. Okay, they can now acknowledge that. Okay, this is the letter because they put the party into disrepute. We are firing you from the party as a member, and you are not allowed, or you are barred from using CCC logo. You are barred from using CCC. Then they can make that process now to formalize that. If you want, you can write a letter to us now for with the reasons why you cannot be fired, right? And then that process goes and is fired completely.
Right.
That's it.
There is an issue here of the unknowns, the unknown people who are behind him. How about if let's take an example of the unknown people being some of the people that will be responsible in that decision making, because as it stands right now, we don't know who's calling the shots, and we don't know who's behind Shabang. So if we don't know that, and there's already speculation that the most senior people that you can think of are the ones that are being accused to be standing behind Shabang. So how plausible is it that this scenario here will play out after these by-elections?
Uncle Jed, understand we're saying CCC is a party.
Yes, yeah.
And when they make the national, when they call for the all members eligible for will be allowed, then the liberate
right.
the filing of Bangu will rise up and say so. But at the end of the day, it should be made to say this is what as a party we've agreed, and that will be put on public for you and me and everyone to see that Masangu now is no longer part and parcel of Triple C, because Masangu himself has acknowledged that he's a member of Triple C, and Chamisa is his president.
Right.
And the president of Triple C, with Chamisa, is going to call for a meeting, right, to make this resolution, to convene about all the problems, internal problems in Triple C, which they have to discuss.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Right. All right. Okay.
I've got a question for a second.
Okay. Quickly, because I want to bring in Magneto into the conversation.
Okay. Second, how can you sit down as a party and make a resolution with something that you think you're saying does not exist? How can you recall someone that you believe that you actually believe that is not in the party? You have to bring him into the party for you to record him. You have to acknowledge him in the party for you to record him. We are refusing that.
That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you, Uncle Zeti, to say now, because now things have happened this way, which we are not expecting. Now we have to go back on the drawing board again to do a okay now. We cannot disown this guy now. Let's do it the right way. Let's own this guy, and now formally do the party resolutions to fire this gentleman.
Yeah, to say, okay, Shabangu, come, let's sit down.
Yes,
okay,
come here now. Let's talk. You're a member, but look, this is the problem. What you've caused to the party. Now, this is the resolution which has been made. This is your letter, right?
Right, okay. Right, thank you.
As a party, they're supposed to do that. Nothing can stop them to do it.
Right, thank you very much, for that. Right, Magneto, take the mic.
Oh, thank you, Uncle Jed. Myself, I've got a take which is slightly different from what other speakers are saying.
Okay.
Anyway, I will take you back to 2018, especially around the Gweru Congress. When MDCA went to the Gweru Congress, anyway, for starters, for me, the only thing I blame Chamisa at the moment, Chamisa is just being too diplomatic. He has to be ruthless like Julius Malema. Julius Malema tells you, if you want me to do what I don't want to do, I don't give me your vote. Go away with your vote. Chamisa has to take that stance because he's just being too diplomatic and people are kicking him left, right, and center because of that. Anyway, going back to the Gweru Congress, what happened when we went to that Congress? I was in a WhatsApp group, and I'll tell you what happened up until to the time I was kicked out of that WhatsApp group. That WhatsApp group, it had MDC Alliance leaders, Monzora, Komichi, you name it. Any guy, Mudzuri, and all the guys, they were in that WhatsApp group. It was the who is who in MDC Alliance in that WhatsApp group. So when we went to that Congress in Gweru, there are some stakeholders who were sponsoring MDCA who wanted Tendai Biti to be the leader of opposition. But they failed, and it's a fact. Everyone knew about it. When nomination came in, he was beaten by Chamisa. But they didn't come out clearly. But Biti himself, he wanted to be the leader of the opposition. But that clique never took that lightly, and they never rested. And it involved Monzora. That's when they schemed the 2020 recalls. It was out of the Gweru Congress. It went on and on and on and on and on. And whatever happened, what they were talking, especially in that group, they started paging people out of that group. When the Monzora and the other guys went to court, so they started paging people who were loyal to Chamisa. If ever you make a comment supporting Chamisa, you are out of the group. Then when we went for the by-elections, that was early last year, 2022, soon after the results were announced, Alex Magaisa, may his soul rest in peace, did a thread on Twitter about the results and the implications to Monzora and all that stuff. I replied, in fact, in reply to Magaisa's comment, I was writing what Monzora was saying in that WhatsApp group. In fact, I've sent that the link to Magaisa's tweet. You can pin it on top if for people who want to read that. In that group, when people were talking about the recalls, Monzora was asked, why didn't you recall some of the guys? And I have to be specific. The one name which came out was Job Sikala. And Monzora said, he's one of us. That's why he said, I didn't recall him then. Then he said, he's one of us. Then that if it went on and on, people were talking. Then Monzora said, the rest of them were going for them in 2023. Just wait and see. 2023, we're going to recall them all. Then I replied to Magaisa's tweet, writing what Monzora had said in that group, saying 2023, we're going to recall them all. And what Monzora was saying in that group is exactly what is happening now. Then someone tipped off Monzora saying, did you see what's being written on Magaisa's tweet? I was removed from that group because of that. So Chamisa knew about it because there were some conversations which went on back and forth. And after I tweeted that, someone contacted me and we spoke about it. And Alex was involved. He asked me some questions about it, and I told him where I got the information. And I understand that information was relayed back to Chamisa. All what Chamisa was doing now, he had the intelligence, was to counter what these guys were planning. Everything he was doing, and he was always on his toes, countering what it is. Because before I was kicked out of that group, there were, in fact, Monzora was, at one time he listed all the possible scenarios which he could use to recall people after 2023.
What?
Yeah, all the scenarios which were possible to him, he listed. I wish he was here and I could say it in he knows. He listed all the possible scenarios, saying people could be recalled after because of this, because of that, because of this, because of that, because of this. They were being listed. And the crime I did was to write what Monzora was saying in Magaisa's tweet. And I was removed from that group. And exactly what he was saying is what is happening now.
Oh.
And even if you listen to Chavangu's language, it's exactly Monzora's language. No, I'm not lying. It's a fact, and you can check. I've sent it through the tweet to your inbox. You can pin it up there and see what I wrote. That was, if I'm not mistaken, I wrote that on 20th March 2022. That's more than a year ago.
Right.
He said, he even said, don't worry about this. We're going to come for them. We're going to go for them after 2023.
So yeah, cause you know what you're saying is the tweet that you did put out that day, you are saying that those MPs must renounce their membership of the MDC alliance towards 2023 because once they stand in 2023 under CCC and they win, Monzora will record them because as this stands now he claims them to be his MPs. But how is this possible? How is this happening?
Now, if you hear now, Monzora, especially in the morning, he was saying he was pushing. He said the advice I will give to Triple C is to talk to Chavangu. Do you know one of Chavangu's conditions? One of Chavangu's conditions is say, come talk to me, then we revert back to the Gweru Congress structure.
Yes.
Once Chamisa does that, there is someone right now who is waiting to recall, because once we go to Chamisa goes to the Gweru Congress structures, it means all the MPs are vulnerable for a recall. Someone
So is that now where you are saying that being the MDC alliance, being an MDC alliance member would then give Monzora the power to recall.
Exactly. And that's exactly what they want. So Chamisa must never make a mistake of negotiating with Chavangu as it is now. Because once he negotiates with him, he legitimizes him And him is saying, let's go to the Gweru Congress structures. And someone who had a
But we
position from
know,
those
you know, the Gweri Congress, you know, structure. Did Monzora have? Did he have a position in there?
he didn't, but they've got their tortoise on a lamp post. Who has got who has of which I think Monzora, I think he was the secretary. No, the secretary general was Wende
Wende.
there.
Wende became,
Yeah,
you know, the secretary general. Tabita Kumalo, I think, when he became, you know, the chair, the chairperson, the three, you know, vice
chairperson.
presidents, and you know, Nelson Chamisa at the helm. So I'm trying, you know, to see where now, you know, because that was now the party that was being said, Kuti, MDCA was now a fully fledged political party
The party.
standing on its own under the leadership of Nelson Chamisa. With that leadership that was, selected or elected at the Gwere, you know, Congress, and Monzora had not much influence, you know, in there, because Monzora had now gone back to
To
the
MD.
MDCT, and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And these were now uh, identifying as two different, you know, political parties. Hence, he was being in a position to be recalling, you know, MPs, because MPs had said that, you know, they are no longer part and parcel of that. They are, you know, part and parcel of this new entity that had been created.
yeah, yeah. But the thing is, now they are pushing for Chawangu to arm twist Chamisa to go back to those structures, because MDCA had structures all across the country.
Yeah.
And once they do that, you would find someone again who will come out of those structures starting to recall people, the remaining MPs.
Right. Okay. Like I did what I wanted to achieve, but
Yeah. Then just before I land, so if you see, when even Chamisa went to, he patented like the Triple C logo with companies out in Zimbabwe and all that stuff, he was fighting, trying to counter. And what Chawangu was now doing, they were collecting evidence. Because after realizing information was leaking to Chamisa and Chamisa was countering, all the running around and everything which Chawangu was doing, he was putting his evidence in place in order to make his case strong. And it's an open secret. If you ask anyone in Triple C right now, one of the top guys who lost in the MDC selection process, he was pressuring Wende, saying, Wende, can you give us minutes of the meetings you are attending? So once they get hold of those meetings, they will say, we are part and parcel of the of the executive. These were the minutes from the meetings which Chamisa is holding. Where if you are not part of that executive, where did we get the minutes?
Yeah, paper. Kwecabanga wacho ngangofumana ngipati yake kuti iko ningishumune. Right. Anyway, again.
And to be honest, it doesn't need a rocket scientist, because you remember when Chawangu had that radio interview about 2 weeks ago, he couldn't come, but his spokesperson came, who is Kalipani Pugeni. Kalipani Pugeni was Monzora senator up until August 23. Kalipani Pugeni, as it stands now, is a high-ranking official in Monzora's MDC. How can someone from a different party be a spokesperson from someone from another party? It doesn't make sense. Then Monzora comes to people say, I'm not involved, I don't know what's going on. But his official, one of his closest aides, is Pugeni, is Chawangu's spokesperson.
Can I answer that? Because I think people are mistaking the reason why Puken got into the Chabang thing.
Okay, what is the reason?
It is nothing to do with politics. Puken is always been a southern region aligned. The plights of the southern region, Puken jumps on it every single time.
So he just squeezed himself in there.
No.
I'm now the representative, or I can speak on behalf of Shabang.
No, he's the best one. Shabang approached him.
Oh, is it?
Yes, he's the best one to do that, because he's always been fighting for the rights of when the people on the southern region that are feeling disgruntled. The best person you can go to turn around and speak for your case is Phuket, and he's very good at it. Now, if you are going to turn around and connect that to the political reason, this is when you people get lost. Because it's not even Puken only. Why don't you turn around and talk about the resident association speaking out, the one that turned around and correct and done that was part of the process itself. Why are they turning around and siding with Puken and Chabang?
Right.
Because uncles, the process was bad. The process that turned around and if you've got time, go back to the days of that process, yeah. And look how, especially in Bulawayo, how the process was done. The people were lining up at 7. The papers came in at 12. Said that they were coming from Harare.
You mean on the nomination day?
No.
Or during the candidate selection process?
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right.
And then the selection of the people, some people started to question it. This is why some of the people that were looked at in Bulawayo started to pull out. There are some prominent people in Bulawayo that constituencies were get turned around and put out, started to drop out.
Right. Okay. All right. Right. Anyway, yeah. Let's let's go. Magneto. Are you okay for me to move on to the next?
No, yeah. That's fine. But anyway, I only wanted to say, Citizen, I understand what you are saying, but given the sensitiveness of the case, in as much as you are saying Kalipani Pugeni represents the southern people and all that stuff, and given political morality involved, I don't think it was the right move. Of which people, it will be very difficult for people to believe what you are saying. Given the position of Chawangu and given Kalipani's position in what you are saying, it's very difficult for people to believe that. Given how sensitive this case is and the implications it has. For me, in as much as Pugeni agreed to that, or maybe he was approached under those circumstances as someone who represents people, I would suggest you are supposed to say on this one pass. Maybe, or you'd have given advice behind the scenes, not coming out publicly and saying I'm not the spokesperson. Right. For me, I would say that.
One second reply. One sentence reply. One sentence. To reply to you, Magneto. Belief is the state of not knowing. I do not need people to believe me. I just need them to know.
Okay, no worries. Freelance.
Uncle Jed, sorry, 1 second.
Stop playing snooker, man.
No, I'm not playing snooker, Uncle Jed. Stop taking something which you don't know. Nandache in the mazwanda nchaiti zvema politics zvema space but topic yaita kuti ndisataura ndide kutaura ino achida kuvhunza zeti a question and a question yandikuvhunza it's a question yandikubvunzira anofanana neni anoda kuziva kuti who is this young man called Pugeni ane posi yakadii munhu anorecolla vanhu from a party munhu anenge akaita sei can the likes of Ostelius bongo mungoti I'm recalling vananingi can the likes of Wende come out and say I'm recalling kana since unoita ma-recall in the party unenge une position yakaita sei and what does it say in that constitution perhaps CCC yangu nyarara in a constitution yacho who has got the right of recalling others? Thank you.
Right. Well, see, I know some of the people don't want to hear what Douglas Monzora said this morning. But Douglas Monzora ati pindwa parliament, when you get into parliament for the first time, what is supposed to happen is correspondence letters are supposed to be sent to the Speaker of Parliament to sort of confirm the names of the people that have been selected or that have been deployed by the political party by virtue of them being voted by the citizens or by the people of Zimbabwe. And then Accompanying that will be a constitution of the party, as well as information on the signatories in terms of who speaks to the Speaker of Parliament on any matters that involve the deployees. So, looking at the letter that was written, I think I posted, that letter. Looking at the letter that was written by that came from the office of the president, it is explaining what Monzora, was saying. To saying that pursuant to the notification of the names of elected members of parliament through the government gazette, general notice, blah, 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 blah. And then it says, this letter seeks to notify you that any correspondence regarding any CCC member of parliament listed in the said general notice is to be directed to this office, meaning the office of Advocate Nelson Chamisa. Any communication or notification regarding any CCC member of parliament listed in the said general shall come, to parliament shall come from this office, which is the office of Nelson Chamisa. For the avoidance of any doubt, no other person is authorized to correspond or communicate with parliament concerning CCC members in parliament. For ease of reference, the list of CCC members of the National House of Assembly is attached hereto and marked as Annexure A, whereas the list of CCC senators is attached hereto and marked as Annexure B. So this is what Monzora, was saying. And according to this letter was widely, circulated. It was written on the 11th of September 2023. But on this letter, there's no stamp to say that, this letter has been received, by Parliament. And then now the argument, something, that he was saying is, he does not understand why a letter written on the 11th of September 2023 has got a date stamp of, I think he used the date 17th of October. I'm not sure whether, is correct, there. But from the information, that I have, it says that the letter has got a date stamp of the 5th of October 2023. So now, when you then look at the recall letter that was sent by Chabangu's recall letter is dated the 3rd of October. So if you then want to look at the notification that is going to the Speaker's office, because he said that the Speaker creates a file for you guys, for each political party, to say, you ZANU-PF, okay, this is their file, this is their what, this is their what. So now, had this letter gotten to the Speaker of Parliament before Chabangu has written his letter, then the Speaker of Parliament was simply going to refer to the correspondence that he got, and then he would not action the letter Chabangu. But the argument that is being putting forward, or the point that is being putting forward, that is putting forward is, this letter did not reach the Speaker of Parliament in time. It was the letter that was written by Chabangu that got there first. And since the Speaker of Parliament had nothing to refer to in terms of who was responsible for what, then he simply took the letter Yasabangu and then said, good, this is now the letter that, or this is the information that he has to refer to, and hence Tabangu's letter was actioned and this letter was not actioned. So this is the argument, that is, being, put forward. So according, to that, it will then mean that since Shabangu presented himself as the person who's got the right to make, the recourse, then he was taken to be the person who is responsible for making any correspondence to the Speaker and making recourse if that arises. Saka, that is the situation it will explain one. I'm not saying this is true or this is what, but this is what he was saying with Iwo. Pawaipi in parliament. Wajir MDCA, wajir MDCT, MDCA pepe. Bakato tumira list yema deployees abo, constitution yabo, and who was responsible for the correspondence in England and we were recalled and Gikwewan. But in this instance here, he was even saying, I don't know why. Office ya Advocate Nelson Chamisa, the parliament building, as just somebody cool, and he was saying, I don't know why this letter did not get to the Speaker of Parliament, on time. Well, that is an issue now that I think requires a pushback, if there's going to be a pushback from CCC to say, we did send, this letter. We got an acknowledgement, from Parliament, and this is the death stamp that, they received the letter, they acknowledge. But at the present moment, there is no such letter that has got a death stamp to say, somebody will notify the Speaker of Parliament kuti ndiani nani anenge ari responsible yokutaura nemi when it comes to the deployees, that's iyo runzizo yakanga kusina, hence Shabangu got the opportunity or took advantage of that. He saw a void and he exploited that and he took advantage of that.
Okay, yeah, just two things before I go. Saka stems it's in stem by kubikika ere muZimbabwe. I think gonna kubikika. But anyway,
But we don't record in the first place.
yeah, that's
Because
the
if you
problem.
big it, there has to be a correspondence, record, there to just say, okay, fine, and
yeah, but my laws and I don't want to divert the topic. But did I hear per speech ya Monzora Maxen Achiti? We are also coming for our offices.
Oh yes, he said that.
Okay. My records. I just want to mark my records so that next time that we just be space to tell I will come back for my offices.
All right, okay, no problem.
Thanks. Okay, I'll drop. Thanks.
Sabugu mrape nyeri. Sabugu Dobs. Sabugu wanenge ningi varumbo bigirwa tea. Right. Tezvara.
Kwasha.
Muri sei?
Bom, Kwasha. Zviri sei?
Ngodaro Tezvara. Kuri sei kumamana uko.
Mamana kuri vairi zvokuti dhu.
Aiwa tinotenda. Right. Ndinoga yakaiti naye naite Tezvara. Atipei.
Nyaya iyi ingori simple. Haina kumbonya kuoma iyi. You don't have to think too hard for these things. Both guys zvatoitika zvaitika Mkwasha. Problem kana yaitika. What's left is find solutions. Shit. Ndozvoitika in everything in life. Nokuti now tine nyaya iyo yaSabangu and we don't know hedu kuti court ruling chati kuti, but I should like to think kuti court ruling ichangota kuti no, nyaya yenyu is an internal party problem. They might give the benefit of doubt to Shabangu to say go and sort out your mess. Just what they did the last time. It's Congress. I think that is what's going to happen. Court judgment, because I don't think they might do much about it, right? But at the same time, my by-elections are going, because that's a parallel thing altogether, which means what we need to be looking at now is to write but what happens after my by-election, and it. Masangu, yes, he beat us to beat us. I come on the board faster, yeah. Give that to him, right? But like I have said, this is a political problem. It's a political solution. Saka solution ya Masangu ichawanika, into wanika. That's why CCC is a party. Saka, which means now there was something maybe what I'm not sure about. My by-election, since they are all using the same everything, since our children they've ceased to be members of CCC by Masangu. So I'm not sure how they are going to be nominated if they are going to use the same candidates, like what they called, unless they change the candidates. I'm not sure. But that being the case, by-election, but what we need to get to now is a permanent solution to Masangu, right? Once we believe Masangu definitely is a case, and it. but inini sokufunga kwangu andiri kuti triple C need to have a discussion namahlangu kuti you have to negotiate naye no hazviite nokuti hatingataure nenhubu kuda kuuraya musangano hazviite zvachose. So what's just going to happen is kuti after the by-election solutions will be found to mahlangu as a party. Yes.
Right. Tezvara imimi ndimataura but hamusiri tezvara vangafanira kutaura but kungoti zvonangoita kuzongoripiswa tezvara mhofu
kana mhofu ati takawandisa ka
right mhofu ndinge musati mataura hanzi vane zita rekuti ish 80001 hanzi but uncle, are you not being naive in the way you are looking at date of delivery of NC letter? What if the speaker is part of the shenanigans and delayed to stamp NC letter until Shabangu's letter? Shabangu may have been tipped to write the letter while NC letter was being held. To be honest, I'm not being naive there. I don't know who's being naive there. But in any, like I said, Kuti, I am telling you what I heard, in the morning. Kuti zondozo zvacho zvaitika. This is not like me saying kuti ndo zvakaitika ndataura inini kuti Douglas Monzora. That is the explanation that he gave. Saka if there's anybody who's being naive, I think I don't know kuti zondiani ari naive. Right. I thought nyuningi atezvara mofu mune boso haile chakuti Jesus profile.
Yeah, Uncle, do you know, I don't think this case is very, very simple. Because what my brother said, saying maybe there are gonna be two parties, one for NC, one for Shabanga. But if you look 2 years ago, almost 2 years now, when CC was formed, NC was there. So ZEC must not be confused there. One is the Amurid Wechin. We would provide NC just to inform ZEC or to register CC. Shabangu was not there. So right now ZEC cannot say this political party now belongs to Shabangu. We are not fighting about leadership here. If Shabangu has got his own people, I think he's the one who's supposed to be forced now to form another political party. Was NC akamanye koko last year to register our own CC? So how come Makuti Mimi Shabangu anogona kutora chira kana nacho? It does not make sense. But with the system in Zimbabwe, anything is possible. But right now, the ZEC, are they fair? Do you remember when NC went there first, they wanted to say more, why are you not registering this MGC alliance?
Yeah, I remember the conversation is.
But NC Agati is to see analysis. We are coming here as a new formation. ZEC has stability. So do you think Shabangu has right? This story is different from Dagi na my coupe na NC. So I don't see another choice. So Shabangu maybe is gonna form another party, or he's gonna call it CC Shabangu. I don't know what he's gonna do.
CC Shabangu. CCCP.
Yeah, because it will not make sense right now if ZEC is gonna start to say maybe AC Chako. Does that make sense to you now, guys? Party, it even took part last year, my by-elections. But it was out in the ANC.
Right. Absolutely.
I don't know, but in Zimbabwe, it's just a circus. Anything is possible in Zimbabwe.
But I move up and mistake with politics.
But in terms of ownership, ye party Chigumbantu ziya kuti ownership ye party yakamira so. in maleaders yeparty yakamira so.
Many
But
no.
kana pane if there's a hand of ZANU-PF, that's when wachingotaura kuti results amira akadai so aona 52%, akaona 51%, vasingabreak asvika sei pa 51%. So we just have to wait and see. But it's free, Shabangu, you can take it. But when it comes to the ground,
right.
And we are waiting for that.
Yeah,
we can even give him the t-shirt, everything to CC. We start our own thing again.
Right. I'm going to point the move.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wolf. Ngoma Carlos.
Yes, Uncle, thanks. I was going to come in and say, hey, I had a problem with the network, man. So it was good. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Let me just share a little bit of what I've. With me, I'm not having any direct inside information from ZANU, from CCC, from ZAPU, from anyone. You know what I do? I just connect the dots from what these guys are doing. Right. I just connect the dots to understand and think this. Number one, I totally disagree with this Zeti. He's one guy that I respect, and I wanted to let me start with the disagreeing with him. Remember, he doesn't want people to agree with him. He just shares, of course. When you share, you have an audience. So I am one of the audience to what he was sharing, and I disagree. Number one, my understanding of this Chabangu-Saka, CCC mustn't it to be a political suicide to sit down with Chabang.
Right.
Why do I say that?
Yeah, why?
Number one, if this is what if what we are seeing on the streets of X or Twitter is something is gospel truth to go by, the demands from Chabang are saying, let's go back to constitutionalism. Let's go back to the 2019 Congress Guero. That on its own tells me, CCC, you mustn't even go to sit down with this guy. Even if it was making sense.
Taken out.
Actually, even if he has shown that where does he stand, what is his intention, I believe that one is key. He will never take. The other reason why the CCC mustn't sit with him. Running narrative. CCC is weak, NC is weak. Yeah, NC this thing didn't work of the nominations that was done, the primary and all that. If he gives an ear to Chabang, he accepts the failure of the process. Let me agree with Magneto. I said I don't have the insight Magneto claimed to have, but I want to agree with him. One of the things that I read from the moves of NC, he made sure that he connects with the people personally with him. Even if you are the people that you love, as long as NC says not this one, you are going to fall. That one is a guarantee from the CCC people now. Even if you say this one is nominated by people, if NC comes and say not this one, we say it this one, you are going to fall. Because what he did, he worked very well to have his face marry people. He's married to people direct as him as NC. So if he agrees to this, he's going to fall. Maybe the other point on that one that I don't agree with. Let's agree to disagree that. The truth of the matter is, all the political parties, they cannot satisfy people 100% unless you are a detector. If people don't have to raise anything. With the ZANU-PF, if we want to go back now, you will remember that they had people that they also recalled and replaced with the favorites of whosoever in their so-called primary that was perfect. So it's not true that you will satisfy people. Number three, I had followed. There's an audio that made in Tare after these elections. In one of the statements, he said, people have come with the tendency of the past movement. Here, Kwakangwara, we are working on that. So when I listen to all this, work to the MDC times and approach, understood to NC, that one is out of his picture and is.
Can you go back to where you were before? Because you're now breaking now.
Hear me now?
Carlos, can you go back to where?
Do you hear me now?
Yeah. Sit there, don't move.
Yeah, this network is challenging me serious. No good. Okay. I'm saying I listened to Douglas Monzora in the morning. I was there and I asked the question before he comes, exactly on this point, to say there's something that I don't understand. Chabangu is requesting that we go back to 2019. His response to those who were there, he said 2019 CCC was not there. And I said, okay. Number two, he said, as much as it was not there, when there was this transition, Chabangu also moved with these people. And then he made an assumption that when they moved, the people moved with their offices, which is not true. So, indeed, what Magneto is saying, for me, it holds water. Because I had a question that I wanted to ask also, and I think of late, if you notice, Monzora has been in spaces all over, especially these ones that are something else. These ones, he's all over. The question that I had, why? I said, why? And when this letter of recalling and stuff like that, Monzora then tweeted when he was in the Western countries, in the Labour Party and stuff like that, he just tweeted that we are here. For me, that was a signal to say, do what we are doing this side, we are rebuilding and connecting with the real people that was always known. That is why when he comes, he start to fight with Peter Mutasa, if you follow the tweets. So for me, it makes sense that Monzora, because my question was, is Monzora taking advantage of something that he doesn't know, or he is the maker of this chaos? So now taking from Magneto, for me, he is the maker of this chaos. That is why they keep pushing that NC must go and sit with Chabang. For me, there is no ground to sit with Chabang. It's either Chabang wins people of Bulawayo. I understood you asked the question, does that mean Ndiani Emarizake Mkoma wa Mayweather Kwarara?
Oh, yes. Yes. Scott.
Yeah. Remember the accusations that are on the streets that Monzora is working with ZANU-PF. There is an element of ZANU-PF wanting to win back where they failed. You remember that day I said to you, let's go back and do calculations of the differences in the winning and losing of these elections and see where does this thing go. I still hold on to that point, that there is that move that is trying to win back. On the other hand, the Monzora is trying to weaken, because remember, his fish pond where he must fish, it is the same people of this CCC. He cannot fish from the ZANU-PF people. He only fishes from CCC for him to also to have a standpoint. So he has to fish here. So the weaker people, he took advantage of being always suppressed in the majority. And then there was a spicing of areas like the Mayweather guy, the Harare one, to just spice and say, no, it is not material because there are these. But those areas are also done for ZANU-PF to win it if they are to win it. Or else even if you go back to CCC, it doesn't matter. So for me, this sitting down, I strongly cancel it. If NC goes that direction, that's his end. He ends there, then he's...
Right. Yeah, Bagaiba. Are you still there or you struggling again?
If you make a mistake of going to 2019, my last point, let me go back to Monzora. Monzora says there is a letter that must be this and that. An assumption that that letter was not done, of which I hold my breath. I need to ask tomorrow at site. They said they are going to have promise Mkwana. That would be my question. Did you not have that letter from the onset or not? Because there is talk on the street as if that thing was not done. And the CCC has a tendency of keeping quiet and make people make noise. And then they show. I want to ask that to Mkwana tomorrow at site. Did you not have? Because for me, I also somehow align my thinking with that one who said, Is it not possible to send a letter to the Parliament Speaker and then the Parliament Speaker ignores that? Why do I say that? When CCC President wrote a letter that came after their sitting, he cited that we notice that we write letters that you don't recognize. I don't know if anyone saw that.
Yes.
So if the letters are sent and the speaker has a tendency of ignoring, then clearly there is something wrong with this. You can't take away the speaker into this.
So, which means, they really need, to come out into the open to address, that issue, so that they remove any doubts that are lingering in the public, domain.
Yes. In fact, I saw another tweet. I might have not followed exactly what was Ostalos responding. He gave names of signatories. I asked myself, is he responding to the signatures of the electoral court, or what was it?
No, he was asked the question on who were the signatories in Blawayo, the people that signed for the
candidates of CCC.
Yes.
Right. Yes, because remember, there was an issue of double candidates. There were people who were signing like Sengezo did. So they hit their officials. So it's okay. So in other words, maybe my last point will be, let's go back to that one. Let's say we are now going forward to these elections. They go to the electoral court to register these. They take back all the record and take them back. There is no harm. What I am foreseeing now, there's going to be two CCC. ZEC and ZANU are the same thing together with whoever is behind this Chabangu thing. They will accept all of them, unless this one is my request, Uncle Jay. Can you find the gurus, the legal gurus here, to come and look at law? What can prevent somebody to register same? Let's speak about ZANU PF. I go and register and be a ZANU PF. What on the legal basis, what is written on the ground, not our assumptions and our collection of these dots. Right. Because I fail to understand, why is ZEC accepting more than one candidate from a party? Why, and is it only happening to only opposition? Is there no law that serves? Because if there is a law, what we are going to see, mark my words, Chabangu is going to go first. When the official CCC come, they will find and be told this was done. Mark my words. If there is no law, we are going to have all of them.
To wait for the last day.
This time there's no waiting for the last day, because remember, from my view, they are taking back the very same people that are known.
Right.
Yeah. So if there is a law that says you cannot register two, you will anytime, whether they go 8 o'clock, offices opening at the electoral court on the day of registration, they will find that Chabangu is already registered. Whatever time they go, unless there is no law that prevents a double candidature or anything, you will find that there is going to be that. Pasho in Country Park is going to have Thokozani Kupe. And I if Thokozani was listening, if I were here, I was going to refuse.
But she is in parliament already.
That's my point. If I was Thokozani, because remember the stories that were making rounds was that Country Park endorsed Thokozani Kupe. Do you remember that one?
Oh yes.
So,
yes. Earlier on, yeah.
If that's the case, because Chabangu says he has got the people that were nominated by people, that's the list he has. So in Country Park, he has Thokozani Kupe. Let's take from what has been said. It's Thokozani Kupe. And she's not recalled, and she's in parliament. Whoever Chabangu is going to put in Country Park to replace Pasho is not nominated by people to go by what has been said before. If he is to put Thokozani Kupe, and that means he has to recall Thokozani Kupe, then that would be a mess.
You're coming from the point whereby, he's saying that he's going to be putting, favorites. So already, Madam Kupe is in parliament. And in that seat day, she was being said that she was the favorite. So is he going to be putting it? Is he going to be putting it in there as well? Right? Okay, I hear you. Right. Anyway, if you can lend in the next minute so that I can give others as well the opportunity to speak.
All right. I'm just saying.
Carlos? Yeah, if you can let in, yeah. Right, okay. Go on. Right. Your network, Mkoma Carlos, your network, Mkoma Carlos. Right. Mkoma Carlos, your network. Let me go on to the next speaker. Let me go on to, to the next speaker. The speaker from Kwajistan.
Tiripo mkoma zviri sei
Good day, go Kwajistan.
kwachistani tiripo kwacho uku tiriko
Kwachura zvenyu.
ndangoya panapo on two things chete. One of it ndeyazeti. I want to ask Zeti with what he said here. The first one is that my personal opinion is that if we get to December and this thing such a resolve yoga, my MPs they should stand as independents, and then vanongo re-electiwa futi, and then chamisa anongoenda achinovakampenera futi as independents, and that's what's going to happen here because Tawang wanenge achingosapotiwa nezeki. And then the second one is Zeti, I need to ask you, you confuse me, especially on this matter here. You are saying that ZEC is not going to allow CCC to field candidates from Chamisa and from Chawangu. Just these recent elections, CCC pleaded with ZEC name a double candidates. We don't know these other candidates that are being put here. And the ZEC actually ignored the CCC. So why is it that on this election that's going to come, you think that they are going to stop CCC Chamisa from fielding their own candidates or these existing candidates to be refilled because Chawangu is going to come up with his own list? That's my question to ZEC. Thanks.
Right. Zed, do you want to quickly, respond? Quickly, respond. Don't add anything, please. Just respond to the questions.
I'll do that. That is a different case. CCC was saying that these are not their candidates. These candidates were saying they are CCC. Yeah, totally different. What you are dealing with now is you are dealing with 2005 scenario, whereby let's say triangulating around, they said this is the party, and then Nube said this is the party. Now ZEC now's procedure is very simple. It is concentrating on electorate. You cannot all have the same initials. Yeah. If you are saying that this one is not yours, that means you have to have extra initial. This is when MTC ended up with MTC-T. It was never MTC-T.
Can you differentiate between what happened in these last elections?
Because you want to differentiate and say, no, this election is totally different.
No, what do you mean is different?
Because those guys were saying they are yours. Yeah? And you guys were saying that they are not yours on Twitter. Not on ZEC. This is where the difference is. But now you'll be saying that these guys are not yours on ZEC. And ZEC is not going to allow two entities that you are saying are different to actually hold the same initials, because it's going to confuse the electorate. So
was the electorate not confused in this previous election?
This is what I'm trying to say. That in this one, it was not a ZEC problem. Yeah. In the 2023 one, it was not in the 23. It was not a ZEC problem.
Okay, Zed, is there a change in the law that will stop parties that have got the same name from fielding in the coming, by-elections?
Okay. There's a change in the law in terms of the ability of parties and thing to pull back. That is, you can only pull your candidates 21 days before an election.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to say, Angus, is this. If CCC is going to turn around and have its own candidates, they're going to have the process of signatories, yeah? Like any other nomination courts. Now, Chabangwe, if you are going to say it's not CCC, that means you cannot use CCC what you call people to sign, because those guys are not going to sign. He has to create another separate thing, another separate signatories to sign to this for these same candidates. Now this is where the problem is. Chawang is going to come in with the CCC and everything else. You are going, CCC is going to come in with the same identical thing. Zek is going to argue between them two that you guys have to turn around and make sure that you are different, for that the electorate sees that you are different, for those that want to vote for Chabangwe CCC or the those that want to vote for Chamisa CCC. And this is what happened to Tsvangirai. This is when Tsvangirai ended up with MTCT. It was never MTCT, it was just MTC. And the T came in to differentiate from Ngube. Because Ngube came in with MTC as well, saying that is the original MTC, and this one says the original MTC. And this is how we ended up with MTCT and MTC Ngube on the ballot. And they now turns around and creates a world of its own.
Right.
And this is what I'm trying to say. To avoid this world of its own that people are not foreseeing, you have to sit down with Chabango so that does not happen. Because the moment you create a world of its own, now you're putting the risk to the other 80-something members of parliament in parliament. Now they have to turn around. I'll finish up with this, Angus. When Makube turned around and broke out with MTC and held it with the court case, and Chamisa was there on the other side with MTC. I'll give you a good example of Bulawayo. We had candidates, we had MPs and councillors in Bulawayo. They were put in a very awkward position to say, if you are going to approach a councillor or an MP in Bulawayo and ask them which political party they belong to, they'll say MTC. You say MTC, which one? Do you belong to Makupe one? Or do you belong to Chamisa one? On paper, they will tell you they belong to Makupe one. But in want and deeds, they belong to Chamisa.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay.
And that causes a rift. This is why you end up with MPs and councillors that were Makupe aligned or Chamisa aligned, but they were in limbo.
Right. Okay. All right. Right. Let me go to the next speaker, Dobbs. Sabuk. Sabuk Dobbs, I can't hear you. I see you've unmuted yourself, but I can't hear you. Sabuk Dobbs, are you there? Right. Seems Sabuk Dobbs is not there, but okay. Right. Sabuk, when you're ready to speak, just let me know. Okay. Right. He has dropped. You can make the request against Sabuk, and then I'll bring you back. Right. So I want to go to new speakers now. We have got is it Regan? Please take the mic.
Okay,
Right, Mkoma, your network is bad. Your network is bad. Right. Can you move where? Yeah. Taurati.
Alright, ndichinje pandira. Makundinzwa?
Yeah, makunzwika.
Alright. Ndaida ngovhunza just a quick question yekuti pakanzi nekoti MDC ngaidzokere kuma 2000 anachamisa vakaramba. Dai vakazvibvuma kuti yese kuenda zvaifamba sei. And zvakare mumwe mubvunzo wandoda kuti undibatsirwe ndewekuti why vari kungoramba zvese zvokuti ngavadzokere dzokere kuma 2019 structures zvinofamba sei vakati vakudzokera hazvikwanisi kubatsira vanhu here kuti marecourse aya asaiti
Weekend's network angles was bad. I could not hear.
Yeah. Okay. So you are saying that at the last time there was a court judgment that says go back to the 2014 structures, and that happened in some ways, but did not happen with others. Others decided, to move on. And then you're saying now that there's this request that is coming from Shabang that is saying that, oh, let's have the leadership that was elected in Gweru 2019. So you're saying that how about if they just go back there? Would that help to stop the recalls from taking place? I don't know whether there's that appetite to go to there. Some people are saying that we can't go back, or I mean, the party cannot go back to MDC Alliance 2019 Congress because it is a new entity, it is a new party. The Congress in 2019 had nothing to do, or has nothing to do with the CCC party as it is constituted today. And this one is a new party, as it was said out that it is a new baby, is a new entity. So it means it has got no relationship whatsoever with whatever it is that happened in 2019. Whether they should do that or not, I think that is a decision that they have to make as a political party, or themselves, whether it is something that they are able to be entertaining. Whether that is going to be solving the issues, I do not know, Mkoma. But I foresee that not happening anyway. Right. Let's go to Nari. Nari, what do you say? Nari, are you there? Right. Nari? Nari seems to be struggling. I'm going George. Muribuere. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, my side, yes.
Okay. Dobbs, can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Right. Okay. Taurai, Naran's ones was second. Taurai.
Yeah, I think pane nyaya party name yekuti CCC. Position yezeki mukaenda muchiregister muchitimese muri CCC. Anotanga kuuya ndo anawana party name neparty symbol. Havazobvumidzi auya second kuti asenzese that symbol, but party name can be used. So,
right.
Saka ndo pane problem. In terms of Chavangu, I think vanongomufavor chero akauya last. Vanongomupa party symbol because ndewavo kachikwambo chaED. Saka hapana zvavangaita, vanotongomupa symbol. So ndofunga ndo pane problem hapana chamisa. But vane ma-strategies avanoita. Nekuti patakaenda pama-elections aya 2022, vanga vakatoaccepta that day kana kwakuinda kuregistration vese ma-MDC yamaundura na-MDC yachamisa vachangosenzesa iwayo masame symbol. And the trick was Monzora akanga atoine legal right yekuuza MDC alliance, meaning kuti aida kutocontesta as MDC alliance pana 2022 yakatoita surprise pakazonzi na chamisa paipa takuita tachinja new party pakafoma new party akaintroduce ndokuzonocontesta nenew party zvakatovhiringa kuZANU-PF zvakanyanyisa. So pari zvino I think the best way chamisa anofanira kuresolve these issues yake naChavangu by either omfire kuti aifired asiri secretary, which is very difficult nekuti akambotaura kuti haamuzivi, but ZANU-PF inongoramba ichimukanda kuti munomuziva because chikwambo haisi member, chikwambo chaED. Pane vanhu vanotaura kuti ngavadzokere kunana 2018 or 2019 I mean Congress. Vakadzokera muna 2019 is the biggest mistake because vanoclaim wana nomonzora because vaya vakambva vanzi that one it's not recognized, it's not lawful. Mese muri vanhu muri pama-structures amonzora a2014. So vanobva vanzi magara manga muri vanhu vangu because that Congress was not recognized legally kuti kwaitika Congress. So pane a big problem kana muchidhirana Chavangwe, because problem iri kuitika pane vanhu vari kuramba kachitaura kuti aiwa Chavangwe zvineni CCC chinongo chikwambo chaED, saka rinongoita basa rechikwambo. Saka richitaura kuti vanhu kana kuda kuita get rid naChavangwe, chikwambo haubvisi icho, unonangana nemuroyi muridzi wacho. Saka mukanangana naED papa, mukabvisa ED papa mukadhira naED, because tiri kutaura nezvechikwambo chinonzi Chavangwe. ED ari kuluta left right and center, nyika ari kuikakata. Tangu akungofesa chikwambo chake chiri kungomubetsera ichi chatiri kurwa nacho. So ndofunga ndo pane nyaya ipapa. Saka kana taakuita pama-actions ndofunga tisangofakasa, tisangoita zvazva zvekuita focus nema-by-elections ari kuuya, but kutoita ne-larger picture yekuti how do we get rid of ED, nekuti ndo muridzi wechikwambo chiri kukozera kuti uite ma-by-election nemai. Vari kungoenda kuita zvavanoda kuti that issue yamarepozi yatoziva kuti yanga isingafanirwi kuitika if we were really a democratic nation, kana kuti denta tine rule of law. Saka hapana nyaya zvayo apa, ngatidzokerei tifocuse kuti munhu anofanirwa kubva ndiED. Vana Chavangwe ava havana chikwambo chikashayiwa muridzi, ndokutsakatika kwachinoita. Saka hapana iri kotora henyu mike, ndatenda vateereri.
Right, ndinotenda Sabhuku. Right, nhari mapo erapo. Nari, if you are speaking, I can't hear you. Is anyone hearing Nari speaking?
No.
Hello, can you hear him speak?
No, we can't.
Right. Nari, there's a problem. Let me drop you and then I'll bring you back up. Koma George, are you there as well? George, can you hear me? Right. George seems not to be hearing me as well. I'm going to remove you and then I'll bring you, back up. Right. Pastor Tom.
Kondatokwira so fast. Corruption yakanaka.
Ndokudzikisai.
Ndindatsikira vamwe tambo, uncle. Ndindatsikira tambo.
I'll drop you down like like it's hot.
No,
Right.
man, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
No, thank you, uncle.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, give us your take, on this, topic here.
Okay, sure, uncle.
Shabangu, the powerful man.
Yeah. Overnight is now the most
where
powerful.
is he getting his power from?
Yeah, it's interesting, uncle, and this issue here has left many wondering how the system actually works and how it allows things like this to happen in broad daylight. And the by-election is just now. The nomination process starts in a couple of weeks. December, already going to the elections again. But many people, uncle, on the spaces on the internet, they are, saying we don't know this Shabangu person. Where did he come from? How did he manage to do this? Number one, people are denying him. Number two, they are alleging or accusing or pinning him to ZANU PF. But I think I was talking to my friends earlier and I was saying, you know what? ZANU is not in the business of donating power to the opposition. ZANU is in the business of destroying opposition. They're in the business of seeing to it that the opposition doesn't take off or that they do anything sensible. But sometimes, in the event that the opposition on its own is messing up, ZANU will sit there and watch and wait for their time to celebrate. And I think Shabangu, this scenario here, is a situation where there was a lot happening in the opposition camps on its own without the third way arm of ZANU, maybe, if I can say that. And ZANU will not stop because there is trouble in their opponent's camp. They will obviously rejoice and maximize. But Chabangu had been raising his issues for a while, and they seemed to have been ignored. I think many of you, uncle, I know you've seen those videos. I've seen you posting them. He's come from a long way with his issues, and some schools within the opposition corridors of CCC believe that Shabangu has a valid point. Now, we will not always all agree on certain things, but one thing for sure in this scenario is that there is fire in the house, in the opposition house, and ZANU-PF will not hesitate to benefit from things like that. And now, all of a sudden, Shabangu, and people are asking, we don't know this Shabangu. How were you supposed to know him when you were doing ambiguity? You know, no one knew anyone. On the internet they call it wapusa wapusa, because anyone can wake up any other day. I can wake up tomorrow and be the treasurer general and write and say, give me the political party money, because no one knows.
But we constantly heard that the citizens know their leader,
Yes, you
or
see
the
now.
leaders. Citizens know their
Yes.
leaders. So maybe it is these people that are, it is these citizens that are supposed to be knowing their, their leader, who do not know, Shabangu as their leader.
You know what? It's interesting because then Shabangu does not base his case on nothing. Shabangu has actually gone on to submit evidence that supports his case. Is also attached apparently a constitution to support his case and so many other things. And Shabangu uncle, one thing that struck me about this man, he is saying that we should go. Initially, he says he was appointed through the same process that appointed Nelson and my area, right? And then now he says that we should go back to the 20 whatever, the MDC alliance, that Congress that they had in Guerrero, I think. Um, it got me thinking that perhaps, assuming that Shabangu was there, like he says, when the Triple C was formed, maybe they had an agreement that we will use these structures temporarily. And I am almost certain he's got the means to back it up if such a thing ever happened, because he would not just wake up from nowhere and say, let's go back to that without any. This is just me thinking in my own head, right? To say maybe he's standing on something, he's got some minutes of some sort, to support his position, to say let's go back, because I'm sure when they met to form this thing, they discussed these things, and maybe that was what the resolution that set them off. But without any of that, then he's got no case. So the onus is now on those who are saying you're lying to come up and actually prove that this guy is bogus and that no such things ever happened and that he must be dismissed with the contempt that he deserves. So as long as we're going to be here, uncle, doing ambiguity, not challenging this guy, not taking him on word for what he says, at the end of the day he's going to win, and he's going to be uncontested, and he's going to keep throwing these blows, because no one is actually doing something tangible about what this guy is doing. Shabangu, I'm
No,
missing a hashtag, uncle.
what's his name? Prince Divego Sivanda. He said that this Shabangu guy does not know what he's doing, and he's indicated that he's currently challenging him in court about Shabangu calling himself the interim secretary general. So I guess we are going to find out then, because on the 2nd of March, on the 2nd of
Yes,
November,
it's
this matter is
it's
going
no,
to
it's,
go
it's it's just a
into
few
court.
days out now. Yeah.
So there's something that is being done, right?
Yes, by the MPs, but not by the people who've actually got what it takes to challenge Shabangu. Those guys, they haven't got enough of what it takes to actually do away with Shabangu on their
No,
own.
but Prince Dubego Swanda is one of the leaders in the region where this guy is coming from, and he's coming to say that I want to prove that we don't even know you.
Yeah, but he's got nothing to back that up, because he's a member of that party that Shabangu says is the interim secretary general, and he's got something which he says puts him in that position, meaning any other leader falls like under him. So it will be easy for Shabangu, I think, to actually dismiss all these guys. But like you said, the case is coming, and it will be interesting. But one thing we all know for sure is that this case is most likely going to fall on deaf ears, right? But now the elections are also
Is
coming
it
up.
to fall on deaf ears on the basis of the weight of the evidence, or
No, no, no. On some illicit basis that run this country.
all right?
Because you know what I'm saying,
Also,
huh?
you are
Yeah.
agreeing that there's somebody that is engineering this
Yes,
thing,
it's
right?
it's politics, uncle. It's politics. It's a dirty game. But we want
So,
to take things at face value.
will I be wrong to say ZANU PF has got a hand in that?
I think ZANU PF is celebrating this definitely, but the third waves that I think are behind this, allow me to say, I think
Right.
Anabiti and company, because you'd remember that rally at Chamisa when they said president, they'd say BT, BT, BT. Remember that rally?
Oh,
So
yes, yeah,
these things
yeah.
were
I
not
remember
new,
that.
These things are not new. They've always been there. before Shabangu even struck, right? So if we continue to deny that the house has been on fire for a minute, then we'll be lying to ourselves, because we can't take politics at face value. There's always the backhand that will be playing behind the scene that actually, uh, end up giving us these results that we are seeing now, and Ashabangu doing whatever they want. Everybody, even Mudenda himself, knew that this is something going on, but he had no power to stop him. Because Uncle, you were one of the people who were talking about the constitution back then. I saw your tweets the other time, you know, and people were like, "No, we're not doing that. We're pushing ambiguity." But ambiguity has brought us here today, right? But with elections coming up, is Shabangu going to field his own candidates, and the Triple C led by Chamisa field their own candidates, and then he's going to recall them again because he's a Secretary General? Are we going to be stuck in this loop? If we don't want, what then do we need to do, Uncle, to stop this guy from keeping us stuck in this cycle? Because he's holding the whole country, all of us ransom now, because of his personal issues. So this guy needs to be stopped. That's definitely for sure. But I also want to ask this question to the other speakers who are going to come, if you'll allow me to say, what can possibly be done to stop this guy, from doing these silly things that he's doing? Because they don't benefit anyone else but him and those who don't want to see progress. You see now.
Right. Okay.
So
Thank you
that's
very
where I'll
much
end
for
it for
that.
today. But this Shabangu guy has become powerful overnight,
Why can't
Uncle.
he just
And I think
stop? Because
he's,
because I mean, he's causing commotion. So
yes, he needs to be stopped. That's without a doubt. He needs to be stopped. I'm not a big
right.
fan of his shenanigans. I think he needs to be stopped. And then this overnight power that he wields needs to be clipped off. And people need to put hanzi chiko vanoti chiko chirungu chacho ameenda chikangano vafana kumumisa kuti asaone simba rekuita zvaangaramba achiita izvozvo, because they've
Or kuti
created
handisi
loopholes.
apiwe paitwe, because I've seen pana vanitumira message handisi what needs to happen now. Okay, you're saying with this, what needs to happen, for him, to be stopped. There
Yes.
is a suggestion, that has been put in to say, but in the interim and pending finalization of matter in court, CCC must seek an order of court to interdict Shabangu and or other like-minded people or persons associated with Shabangu or anyone in perpetuity to use the patented CCC name, colors, symbols, and other associated material CCC is, patented. Are also interdicting Shabangu from recalling anybody of the elected MP, senators, and councillors. That is one suggestion that is coming, out there to say that, whilst there's this, that is going on, to stop this guy, just seek out, a court order. How, can that stop? Can that stop him? That is, the big question. But anyway, thanks Mkoma, Pastor Tom. I appreciate. Mkoma George, muchiripo erapa kana kutizo my boy. I can see you've unmuted yourself, but I can't hear you. Right. There must be something wrong, with your network. I don't know, what is going on. Truly speaking, I can't hear you. Right. Again, then kuna Blazer 8. Blazer 8. What's going on now? Blazer 1. Blazer 1 was people. Right. Regan. Let me see if you're able to speak. Regan, can you speak now? Right. Okay. Our time, ladies and gentlemen, is now 7:07, and I will be disconnecting at the top of the hour. So 8 p.m. That is when we are stopping. So, right. So Regan. Yeah, network yenyu iri kunetsa Mkoma. Yeah, it's everything.
Mkoma ndikunzwika.
Taurai. Right, taurai. Sorry guys, it's 7:15. That is, I'm looking at the screen. Koma kana muninzwa isambunzo yenyu kuwa inbox ndo ita zvekutaura because you are struggling. Right. Nicholas 1. Nicholas 1. Right. Citizenship. Okay. All right. Makasimbere.
Tiri nani.
Aiwa. Taura inchinzwa.
Ngori mune mapoints 2 chete. Ekuti zvinhu zvese muri kuita zviri kunetsa because they are centralized on lawyers.
Hi, bro.
It's like a battle of lawyers, something like that.
Hi, bro.
ZANU-PF is taking advantage of it. Apa parongoda munhu who can motivate. You see, like the MP wakadikoliwa wakaitwa sei, who can motivate, get people, approach Shabangu. We don't want this because takaregerera kubva pana Monzora, kubva pana zvichangoramba zvichingodaro each and every time, of which it's very bad for the suffering people. It's very, very bad. So what I was thinking is like a MP kana wakachuzwa iwe wakarekolewa against your wish, you got a right kuti umobilize one, uziwe kana address ya Chabangu, uziwe kana address ya Chiefs. It's internal matters, haina basa nepolice, but you are trying to solve internal political situation iri mu-CCC. But ukaramba wakanyarara uchingoti Chamisa achadibatsira, achazodai this and this, what. You see, to write on Chamisa's thing, on Chamisa's name, it's not working. But the MP, they need to also like to play their part. Like Bulawai, my MP, I got to call. It's the war of Bulawai. What part are they playing? This is wrong. Apana kana party yauri kuplay. Wakangomira Chamisa achazodai, Chamisa achazodai. So that means, but the war, my MP, basic. We are not voting MP, but we are voting Chamisa, which is very wrong, to tell you the truth. Voter, we vote leaders. We want leaders. Go back to the people, mobilize the people. If it means he got an office, go to his office. Kwete kuregerera kwetakaita pana Monzora paya paya. Plus chimwe time Christian time chinoda munhu anozvibatsirawo. Kwete kungoti tikaramba tichinamata chichabudirira pamberi. It's very wrong. Serious. Kuona utambura kuri kuita vana veZimbabwe so. Nenyaya inongoramba ichitora toenda kukoti yatinonatsa kuziva kuti it's captured. Hakuna kwatinobudirira nawo. Nenyaya yekuti tine vanhu vanoda kuti tinoziva mabhuku. We are following Monzora's way. Yekungoramba teienda kukoti. Tatenda zvangu.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. Let me go to is it Queenie Kagogo?
Mama Jed, I just took the mic now. I'm walking home. I'll be home in 2 minutes.
Oh, you're walking?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I can.
All right. Okay. Keep walking. Keep walking. When you're good and ready, just let me know.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Basrai, are you there?
Koma Jed ndiripo.
Yeah, good.
Riposterek ndadangokubatsirai handina zvangu ningirikini zvekutaura iko zvinhu hangu. Vanhu vese vamuri kutadza kunzwawo nezuro kwava kune update paTwitter. Saka vese munhu wese andisencourage mungangoupdate mafoni yenyu ka nokwanisa kutaura nezuro pamaidada kupinda muspace maingondiaccepta ndichigodropa asi ndichidropa but pandakazoupdata Twitter yangu zvanga zvakushanda bo ndadangokubatsirai because pane vanhu matadza kutaura navo. Saka update yakaitika nezuro mungoudza vanhu vangoupdate zvimafoni avo so mukwanise kungocontinue negreat work yamuri kuita. Handina hangu zvakawanda zvokutaura ndadangokubatsirai pamatechnicalities akuti tikwanisa kubatsirana but thank you.
Magona. Guys, endai kuma Play Store and App Store, Google and whatever. update your devices and make it update, remove those bugs, that are preventing you from, hearing us, so that tinyazofamba zvakanaka handiti. Right, Blazer 8, are you there? Right, Blazer 8, go and update your thingy. I'm removing you from the speakers. When update, your okay. Let me, because I'm just going to be removing you so that you go and update your thing. Darlington, how you doing?
I'm good, Uncle Jedza. How are you?
I'm fine, Mkoma.
Good. Thanks, and thanks for the space as well. And, all the speakers. In any, I'm just gonna be brief, to be honest. I'm really surprised with politics Zadagi and the MDC. I know there are a few spokespeople where MDC one of my spaces pan up. Each time when they come, they are opposing the opposition. And this is the only place in Zimbabwe where I've seen all this. And because Munoe say out to the super ruling party. If you go to the UK, for instance, even the opposition sometimes have been accused of working in cohorts together to win my by-elections, my Lib Dems, ne Labour, But it's Anna Dagi who come on spaces to oppose the opposition, and you wonder where their politics is based on. You are opposing the person who is the ruling party. That's the job of an opposition. But when they come on our spaces, so I think you posted on your timeline today where Dagi was talking about the law which they enacted Varuku Blawayo in a certain hotel. I tried to go on the Constitution of Zimbabwe, and I went to the Electoral Commission law. I couldn't find it. I really don't know what kind of a law it is that he was talking about.
No, the one for recalling.
Where you no, it wasn't for recalling. He was saying once the members of parliament are elected, the leader of the party has to submit a letter which the speaker of the parliament has to file. That establishes a connection, communication channels. So
No. That wasn't what he was talking about. I think he was talking about if you remember on that one, he ended up talking about the role of the speaker, saying that when they crafted the law that is to do with the recalls, the speaker does not do anything but simply to just read out the names when they get into parliament. I think if you go back again,
I will go back, Uncle Jedza, but I think I heard him very well when he was saying that when they were in a hotel in Blawayo.
Yes,
they were in a hotel in Blawayo, and they said,
can I help you?
And hold on. Please, Panamuna and Garutaura, let the speaker finish.
Yeah, I'm going to go through it again, the interview that he did. But he was saying that they were in Blawayo when him, the Speaker of Parliament, Na Mangwana, they sat down and went over this law, which they were saying that once the MPs have been elected, they have to take kind of like a list to the parliament, to the speaker, and give them. That establishes a connection of determining who is who. And he was saying that I doubt that Chamisa did that. That is why it was left bare for the speaker to receive a letter from who? From Chabang. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure. Maybe one can help us here. What kind of a law that one is? And where about? Is it an electoral law? Is it in the constitution law or what that Douglas was talking about? I'm gonna go back again and listen to it. But the other thing that I wanted to say as well is that unfortunately, our politics, I think, is the politics of the stomach. It is quite bare to say, okay, look, even though you might have the disputations about how the primaries were done, these primaries, yes, were done not in the right way that you guys wanted, but the members have been elected. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, sometimes I always go back to the speech that Thabo Mbeki made about these particular elections to say, you have to look at the greater picture. That, look at the good of the nation rather than the good of your individual. And what is at play here is the individual, the politics of the stomach, or Saka things have not gone our way, then nothing will go. Because if you are a truly opposition, you cannot donate those seats to the to ZANU-PF. You cannot. But then he would rather say that I would rather have ZANU-PF take these seats. And the last point is going back to what Zeti was saying earlier on, that ZEC will have to make these parties choose which one is CCC. And I said, yeah, they can do that, Zet. I won't be surprised. But then, the surprising thing is when they fielded the double candidates, Chinese, the CCC went and said, no, look, these candidates, we don't know them. But ZEC accepted them still, both of them with CCC logos. And now, this time, if they turn around and say, no, you go and have another CCC Chabang and another CCNC, it's playing double standards. Because in the general election, you accepted it. Now in the by-election, you are turning around and saying that you should you should make these two parties separate. So that was my contribution, Ango Jeza, and I'm going to look at that clip again. Douglas.
Let me help you out. Let me help you out. This is what he said.
Parliament, the first thing you do as the leader of that party is to write a letter to the speaker, and you enclose your constitution. So you will say, I'm Dr. Monzora, my party is members of parliament. This is the list of the people that are from my party. Of course, he will have it anyway. Then you attach the constitution of your party and the signing mandates that you have, so that the speaker knows that when he receives a letter which is signed by Tapua Mashakada, he knows it is a letter from the MDC. So that's what we did. Now, in the case of the CCC, I do not think that they filed anything to the speaker when their members were elected, even before they were sworn in. They did not converse with the speaker at all. They did not advise him. Because once you write to the speaker, he opens a file for your party with the signing mandates. So he, with that, is able to ignore any other correspondence. But if there is nothing like that, then the speaker cannot guess who in your party is qualified to correspond with him. And in terms of the law, the speaker cannot sit in judgment to say this letter is coming from the CCC, but I doubt whether Chabangu has got a mandate. That's not the duty of the speaker. The law is very, very clear. And apparently this law, we drafted it in Bulawayo, actually, in the Rainbow, 50th floor of the Rainbow Hotel. And the people who drafted it were myself, Jacob Mdenda, the speaker now, Paul Mangwana, the late Magaisa, Edward Mkosi, and a lawyer from Bulawayo called Josephat Chuma. So we drafted it and we removed the powers from the speaker to determine the things that come from political parties. What must happen is that recalls must be discussed at political party level. And then when they come to parliament, the speaker has absolutely no discretion. So I can't tell you whether Mr. Chabangu is authority, but the most important thing is that there must be evidence that he has no authority. And that evidence comes from a constitution, comes from a correspondence. Now, I am aware that Advocate Chamisa wrote to Parliament, and the letter is dated the 11th of September. That letter is date stamped, I think, the 17th of October or something like that. Now, Advocate Chamisa's office is 90 meters from Parliament building. And an explanation has to be made as to why a letter written on the 11th of September only reaches Parliament on the 17th of October. The only unescapable conclusion is that this letter is an afterthought.
Thank you,
Somebody
Uncle Jed. Thank you, Uncle Jed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that is
you heard him when he was saying that after the elections, you have to submit a list to the speaker. And he also he reiterated that the speaker knows them anyway, but Chamisa had to submit a list to the speaker, which I said, where is it written? Because I'm not sure whether he was talking about the same
this is
law.
where I was saying, no, I don't think, there's no law that requires that. I think it's just an administrative nugget, that gets done. But when he was speaking about drafting the law that he was talking about is the recall law, the law for recalling. That is the one that he was speaking to, say that under that law, they removed the powers, they removed from the speaker the powers to sort of adjudicate or to sort of, whatever. Look, I think we had, that conversation where we say that the speaker has to satisfy, himself, this. Right. So the only thing that, the speaker is supposed to be looking at is the letter. Is it come from a political party? And is it telling the speaker that this member is ceased to be a member of the political party, and this member was elected under that political party, and so this member is now being recalled. So that is the law that was speaking to say that we drafted. But when it comes to the letters that go to the speaker to inform the speaker of the deployees and the signatures of those that have got a right to correspond with the speaker, will also need to be made known to the speaker, such that when somebody writes a letter to the speaker will simply have to satisfy that this letter is coming from the political party, the designated person that is supposed to be writing these letters and communicating. I think that is where he was that is what you are saying. But when it comes to the law, it's the recall law that he was referring
All
to.
right, no problem. I think the recall law, we have discussed it here many times. If that time also we're saying
I'm
that
tired of it.
and it. But lastly, Uncle Jed, just to finish, for his dignity and it. For his dignity, Monzora, which I always reiterate, could your opposition and it come and say, could guys, me, I reserve my comment about the opposition. And it rather than you trying to fix the opposition and saying, could you look, they haven't done this, they haven't done this, they haven't done this. If you are a true opposition, okay, just say I reserve my comment about that, so that people are not going to take advantage of that the opposition is fighting against itself, which is the narrative that ZANU-PF is running now, to say, look, they are confused in their party altogether, let them sort out their things. And Dagi, for his dignity, should say, could look, guys, I can't comment on that one. Whatever the opposition is doing, let them do whatever they're doing.
You should stay clear, not to interfere.
Of course, yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah, Queenie. Yeah. I hope I've said it right. Right.
Yeah, no, this time you've tried.
Oh, thank you very much. Don't worry, I'll get it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Home clean.
Home clean, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, Uncle Jez, I don't know if you can indulge me just a little bit.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. So, what's the point of your space? You hold so many spaces. What's your agenda? What are you trying to achieve with these spaces?
I'm trying to create a platform where people can come in and have a conversation and discuss the issues that would have obtained on a particular day, particular week, and just give people, the voice to say something. Sometimes some people find it difficult to be typing on X, to be typing on Twitter. Some people prefer a situation whereby they just want, to vent out, to say something pertaining to anything, that would be going on on social media, or something that will be going on in Zimbabwe and everything, that we feel that, or that I feel that maybe people should have the opportunity, to discuss. The objective is to get people informed. Some people may not know what is going on. Some people may lack, the knowledge, especially when we begin to be talking about, the issues of the constitution. I'm quite sure the clause, the recall clause, some people can now, just, recite it. The first thing, you wake them up. And also, some, another objective is to just conscientize people about, what is going on the political, landscape.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I'll tell you the reason why I always is a underline, why I always tune into your spaces is because of those very reasons you have given.
Right.
Yeah, that's my reason.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm always so informed. I'm always I stay engaged. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. Is it possible for me to recommend one thing?
Recommendations are good, Mkoma.
Okay.
That is how we grow.
Thank you very much. So, Zeti is here, Citizen Z. Utube is my brother. I'm also from Zapu, by the way.
Right.
So Dube, he has like spaces late at night, usually. And they're called resistance, what.
Right.
Yeah, those spaces, they diffuse or they break down, or they analyze. Actually, analyze is a good word. They analyze what's going on the same way your space does. But then also those spaces try to foresee what may happen in the near future. Some people, they call that conspiracy. But to a wiser person, that's actually, that's something that's actually good to look into. So, for example, if we had looked at this whole recall thing, like, in your space, project, there's, you've got brilliant minds that come here. When Ian, when Titus, I can name them. So many brilliant minds that come to your space and who can analyze what's going on now. For me, if they can analyze what's happening or what has happened, and then with the analysis they've done, project what may happen in the near future, so we can prepare. So with the brilliant minds we have here, we should have seen these recalls coming even before the election, right? Because you've got so many clever people here. We should have been able to analyze what's happening at the current time before elections, but then also be able to project and predict what may happen and anticipate, So in ZT spaces, people, they bring up predictions, but people just summarize it as conspiracy. Umana, or makwikwi, or I don't know what you're saying, Shona, makwikwi, is it? Yeah. Yeah. So people say that because it hasn't happened, so they haven't seen it. But that's very important because it helps you prepare for what may happen. And these recalls are something that was like so obvious that we've spoken about in ZT space before the election that they will happen, but in your space have never been spoken about. So I'm just encouraging you, that when people contribute and they analyze the situation, like now this Chavango issue, they analyze, ask them to also try through their analysis. If you see it's a credible analysis, ask them, engage them to say, what do you think may happen so we can be proactive and then think of what we can do, because all we now as Zimbabweans, all we are doing is reacting to what has happened. Chavangu happened, and then the last 2-3 weeks we've been reacting to it. By the time we are reacting to it, Chavangu and his crew are already 10 steps ahead of us. By the time they do their next move, we'll get there and then react again. So we are always 10 steps behind. But predictions may be wrong, but they allow us, if we are right in those predictions, they allow us to be proactive. They allow us to be ready for what may happen. They give us those eventualities to say, if this happens, how do we react? And we are ready for it if it does happen. So ZT spaces always have like 30 people, 20 people. But that's what those 20 people are discussing. They're discussing what may happen. What will happen like in the next 10 days or 20 days or 30 days. What should we look out? But the number is so small. You can't even influence Twitter or anything like that. But you'll be surprised that to hear that like Shabangu, all of these things, they were said on ZT space, but he's an idiot because he doesn't even record his spaces. So we can't even now bring that.
No, I hear you. You know what you're saying, right? But also, isn't it also be proper for us to discuss those predicted things that are now happening, and we discuss those things as well? And I'm quite sure here there are some people that have always I've told you this, on this space. I told you that this was going to be happening. Some people have always come and said, you know what, guys, if this is not addressed, things, but as I said, Gutizo, yes, I do appreciate other spaces. This is why you see when I hold my spaces are not spaces for for having a go at what goes on or to discuss what goes on in other spaces. I've always been an individual that is influenced by current issues. This is why you see, even when I was doing my Facebook live, it was all about current issues, the issues that are obtaining. Sometimes a thing might happen. Let's say an accident has happened, and people would want to then come on after to give their reaction. So it is speaking to the issues that are that are current. But I hear you when you then say that at the end of the day, what we really need to do is, when we have these discussions, we then want to, I think where you're trying to get at is, each space that we have, let it be a space that comes out or that brings out a certain outcome, or an objective, to say, good, okay, out of this space, what has been discussed is this, and this, and what has been proposed by people is a solution to whatever it is, that we were talking about. Is this, is this, is this, is this, is this, it is. What it is doing is doing a marvelous job. That right there, because when we do come and talk about things, that have happened, we are also looking at these things now in their natural state, that this thing has happened, and it was spoken about before a projection was given, and here is the result, and this is where we are. I mean, everything is okay, but I just think that we are complementing each other.
Yeah. Uncle Ched, 100%. No, all I'm just asking from you, and it's an ask, by the way, it's an ask.
Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. Yes.
All I'm asking is, your space. Sometimes you have like 500 people here, and it's not just 500 people. I don't know if you realize.
It's 500 registered devices, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's 500 people, listening. You can be opening, you can be listening, and you've got 20 people listening.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Yes.
No, but there are brilliant minds there. There are minds that can